Can you share, Joe?
No.
Fucking bitch, nigga.
Shut up.
That's the person that came out of the stream.
I'm mad behavior, bro.
Can you see if at least it works?
No.
Come on.
No, I'm mad.
Huh?
I'm about to go pick up a handicap child.
Can I help?
I'm picking up a handicap child.
Can I help you with that?
No.
Did you see my video about why Dragon Ball is probably S tier?
No.
The best. Huh?
No, I didn't. Why?
Nah, that was my newest video. I was just
Do better.
Huh?
Do better.
How?
Make better content.
I'm going on. I'm going on the games. Joe, do you know your rights? Can you say all the amendments?
No, I can't.
You can't? Really? Did you forget all of them?
You joined me already?
Shut up, bitch. It's not my fault you can't get textbooks.
Literally
I'm sorry the school system's failing you, motherfucker.
punching you.
You're paying that much money to the school.
Well, I mean, my tuition is free.
For now.
Not really. They tell you it's
They tell you and
like
they suck your fuck.
bro, get on.
Mm. 468. Fuck. 4685229.
Type your email address or phone number, then follow the instructions.
Oh, Joe, did you see my business cards came?
I'll catch up with you once that's done.
Yeah.
Do they look dope? Joe?
Sure.
You know they look dope, bro. You like them. Come on, man. How do you like them, though? How do you like them? Joe.
They're alright.
Ah, you're jizzing all over it. You know you want to suck it. Come on.
Windows Hello to unlock your PC.
Hello?
As a wink with just your face.
Hello?
Wink required.
Get
Want to
on.
set that up now? Okay, hold still for a second. We need to learn to recognize you. Want to set up a pin?
Fuck yeah. I'm in, Joe. Fuck.
These are the settings Microsoft recommends. Go ahead and review them and select Accept when you're ready. Based on the activities you choose here, you will get a personalized Windows can save your spot in apps, files, and websites, so you can keep doing what you do. We can work some magic so you can use your Android phone from your PC. That's me, Cortana. Can I have permission to use the info I need to do my best work?
Oh, we're playing?
Almost done now. We just need to get a few more things polished up for you, and Windows will be all yours. Looking forward to helping out.
Do you like my wallet though, Joe?
Yeah.
Bro, turn off your game, Mike.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm ready for this. I'm so ready for this. I am extremely ready for this. We ready?
Right, dears. Time for a bit of a float.
Nike's probably like the worst company. Like, what is that shit called when you're trying to be good?
I have no clue.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, ethical. They're like the worst, like, ethical company. Oh my god, I'm lagging.
Oh, I hate this map.
Oh, hi.
I hate it.
You.
Joe?
What?
Alright. I'm kind of lagging a little bit. You know, always happens in the beginning.
I'm gonna have to take my anger out on these people, bro.
Stop getting mad at fucking school, bro. You pay for this shit.
No, bro. If the assignment's due this afternoon, if you just will be back tomorrow, so storming her office.
This place needs a little more me. Yeah.
Fanboys for shooting at me. Recharging
Oh, they're right here. Oh,
Where? Oh! Green!
I need to get my candles. Yes, sir. Joe, get a shotgun pistol, motherfucker.
No.
Get one. You need one.
Leave me alone.
You're dying. Hey, what's up, viewer? What's your name? You want to know your rights? First Amendment. You can speak. Second Amendment. Get your gun, filler. Third Amendment. No hiding soldiers, especially British.
Oh my god.
Or is that the Fourth Amendment? I forget the Fourth Amendment. Fifth Amendment. I plead the Fifth.
Oh my, why are you shooting me?
Send it up my decoy. Bamboozled. Reloading.
fanboys for shooting at me.
Shots fired.
I fell for a decoy.
Put that care pack. Materials for us.
Oh, behind me, Joe?
Oh my god! I'm literally getting double teamed every single time I play the
Fuck.
game.
What happened?
Not all that bad.
I get double teamed every single time I play. Where are you?
I went to go get the materials.
I need you. He's doing the same. I can't compare it.
Bro, you're dying. No, lol.
on you now.
But why do people want to see me? Zombies are like, oh, I want to see you. I'm like, nigga, why? Chappie? Chappie's on top?
Got some materials for
Bro,
us.
this guy sucks. Coming up. Coming up to your right.
Reloading.
He went straight. Recharging my shield.
Sending out another wave. Damn, he's good looking.
Sears. Eyes to the skies. A care package. Reloading.
I just didn't go this way. Probably start running.
Why is this guy always in a gunfight?
Go out and bamboozle him. Yeah, getting shot at. Giving my shields a recharge.
Shields are low. Recharging them.
Oh, I didn't see him.
Giving my
And I
shields a recharge.
syringes.
I need cover fire?
I'm healing.
Reload.
Getting shot
Why are they always shooting at me, motherfuckers?
Shooting at me.
at. Giving my shields a recharge.
Where is he?
Shields recharging.
Fuck.
Recharging my shield.
Reloading.
I've been lasered. I'm healing.
Recharging shields.
Ah, shit.
Bad boys are shooting at
Oh
me.
my god.
Enemy
Beat the
down.
crap out of her.
And they're hitting me.
That's two down.
Where is he?
Giving my
He's
shields a
probably back there.
recharge.
Healing up.
I'm healing.
Gotta patch myself up.
Nice.
Oh,
Look at that, Joe. Teamwork makes you twerk.
They're about to win. But you know what?
Joe, what's the Fourth Amendment?
About to not let them win. I think. So there.
Joe,
what?
what's the Fourth Amendment?
I don't remember, bro.
Motherfucker, you're in school.
The amendments don't matter, bro.
Yes, you do. What if you get pulled over by a cop? That's the only time you should know.
Oh, I wouldn't get pulled over by a cop. Some feels different.
Okay. I don't think they came here. Yep, they didn't come here.
Got some materials for us.
Numpty spotted.
Shots
Oh my
fired.
god, how did I get shot at right? I don't even see him.
Recharging shields.
11? Oh, he's laser?
Care package has some sweet gear for us. Recharging shields. Bamboozles for the fools. It works. It rhymes.
Shadow Clone Jutsu.
Fool 'em. Decoy escape deployed.
How about a wee pick-me-up?
Sending out another
I took
minion.
out the badass.
Let's go.
Oh,
Why do you call him fat ass? He's Gibby.
I'm mad, bro. That's why.
Oh, I gotta buy something. I wonder if I could put a shadow through the portal.
Send in a decoy. Okay, wait, how do I know that I'm not the decoy? Alright, this is a dream with it.
Did he come? Oh, he didn't come through the portal.
They're shooting at me.
Oh my god.
Charging shields.
Oh my god, why did they shot it? It hurt so much.
Recharging shields.
Shields recharging.
One bullet just took down a whole shield. That's great.
Arcstar out.
Wait, that's what I'm saying. I'm getting shot at like.
Give my shields a recharge. Bam, there goes the boozle. Or something like that. I didn't, okay.
Reloading.
Oh, that's a mirage.
Shot fired. And they're hitting me. I need shields. Taking them out with a decoy. You got bamboozled.
Recharging my shield.
I got that boy.
Oh, right here. Mirage.
I got a bad guy.
Right there behind you, Joe. Is there Mirage behind you? There you go. Did we win the whole thing? Oh, round one.
No, we're about to win. No way we can blow it now. Right? Right?
This nigga.
Inbounds are bums this way.
Sending out my decoy.
This fat man, bro.
Arcstar out. Throwing Arcstar. Nope.
Shooting at me. Reloading. Shields recharging.
I hit him with my ability.
Reloading.
Using the decoy escape.
Fuck. I'm down.
You're retarded.
You got bamboozled. Look at you.
Hard hit.
Joe, can you come and heal me? Come down here?
Bro, I'm in a firefight.
Doesn't mean you can't come down here.
Reloading.
Ah! The circle!
Shields recharging.
Come heal me, Joe. Come on.
Bro, oh,
Just a
Come on, our lives matter, bro. Our lives matter. Come on. God.
Bomb bots are shooting at me. Reloading.
Are any of them down?
Shields recharging.
Yeah, I'm down. This guy's right.
Hostile right here, right in front of me.
They're shooting at me. Reloading.
Yikes.
It's the only game I'm playing today, but
Why?
it's not a good result.
Like what?
Watch.
Watch what?
Watch.
Your ass? Like what?
Clothes? Are you retarded?
Sometimes.
Zero. That for you.
Hey, hey, don't get your anger on me, bro. Wingman all the way.
Oh my god, bro. I'm just getting lazy. I can't take it.
Bam! I'm running out of ideas. You got bamboozled.
Oh, I got someone?
You got bamboozled.
His shield's broken.
Yeah, I think this place needs a little more me.
Oh, he's healing.
Give him my shield to read.
You won?
He went behind it and just killed them all.
What? With what? What?
Behind them and just shot them all.
With what gun?
I don't know. Well, they didn't realize what was happening, so it was pretty easy.
Joe, calm the fuck down. Fuck.
Bro, where's your phone?
I don't know.
Phase runner here.
I know you're good, Joe. Fuck. I love getting beamed at. Bro, the Arc Star though, that shit's fucking
Oh, I
destroy.
forgot to buy a gun.
Oh my god.
No, because somebody messaged me.
Wait for the package.
Rockstar out.
I think they did the same thing as
Oh,
me.
I attached?
Shots fired and they're hitting me. Recharging shields. Bamboozles for the foozles. Yeah, I said it.
Joe, what are you doing, bro?
I don't
Recharging.
Shooting at me. Got him.
Bam! There goes a boozle. Booth. Something like that. Check it out.
Recharging shields.
Recharging my shields.
Got him. I wish it would show highlights.
I think this guy's messaged me to the same thing.
What?
I guess he bought the ebook. Talk to you later.
One more? One more game?
No.
Bro, Joe, you had the least amount of damage. 400? Alright. Sheesh. Oh, okay. I gotta get a flash drive real quick. I got all my nudes in here, bro. Okay, let's put that in there. There we go. Let's do desktop 2. Yep, there we go. Let's put up on YouTube. That's the YouTube. What video should we watch? Absolute way, blah blah blah. This sounds retarded. I don't know. Fuck.
Inside every obstacle is always a chance to improve our condition. It's simple, it's not easy, as I say in the book, but you can do it. I certainly had no conception that a book about an obscure school of ancient philosophy would sell millions of copies, reach everyone from the San Antonio Spurs to the New England Patriots, special forces to sitting U.S. senators, that would put me on big stages all over the world. I didn't know that would happen, but it makes sense because we're all dealing with something, and as the Stoics say, what matters is how we respond. If you're gonna listen to a summary of this book or a refresh, you should listen to me. I wrote it, I actually know what's in it. So here's my summary of the ideas in The Obstacle is the Way. You know, I opened the book with this Zen story about a king who believed his people had grown soft. And so he puts a large boulder on the road into town to see what happens. And he hides and he watches. And he watches as person after person is discouraged by this obstacle. They curse him, they quit, they wait for someone else to solve it. Nobody does anything until finally one man comes along and he decides he's gonna tackle this problem. He grabs a big stick, uses it as a lever, and he pries the boulder out of the path, rolls it off the trail. But what he finds underneath is a pouch of gold coins. With the coins was a note that said, "Never forget, inside every obstacle is a chance to prove our condition." And this is where the Zen expression, "the obstacle is the path," comes from. It happens that the East and West were totally aligned here because there's also a quote from the great Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome. He says, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The first discipline of this would be the discipline of perception. It makes sense. How we look at a problem is the first step in how we're going to be able to do something about it. The opening story I tell to illustrate this in the book is John D. Rockefeller, who as a young man enters finance in the midst of what we now call the Panic of 1857. He sees this, as he says later, as an apprenticeship in difficulty. a chance to grow and learn and see the market at both its best and its worst. Really, Rockefeller is shaped by this experience. He studies it. He sees how people got irrationally exuberant, but then also lost confidence in the market and missed out on opportunities. So look, you don't have to like Rockefeller. You can think he's the most evil man in the world. But his discipline amidst the chaos, the panics, the trends, the fads of his time is what makes him great as an investor. And in fact, he makes good chunks of his fortune in successive economic panics, from the Panic of 1857, the Civil War, the Panic of 1873, 1907, even the market crash in 1929. The Rockefellers make money because they're cool under pressure. They don't get rattled by external events. But where does that come from? It comes from training. Rockefeller is good later in his life because he went through it early in his life. I talk about the first Apollo astronauts in the book. John Glenn, for instance, orbits the Earth, the first American to do this, and his heart rate never goes above 100. And I remember I once had dinner with Jim Lovell, the famous astronaut who was also who knew John Glenn, and they were talking about, said, how does this happen? He says, it wasn't unfamiliar to us. We practiced it over and over and over again. We got to a place where it wasn't scary, even when things went wrong. So this nerve control, this comes from training. That's why police officers can be cool under pressure, or special forces, or an athlete can hit a shot when everyone's screaming at them because they've practiced this thousands of times. They've exposed themselves to it thousands of times. I think also this knowledge allows us to not be intimidated even by things that are new to us. I tell the story of Pericles in the Peloponnesian War. He is casting off with the Athenian navy, and an eclipse blacks out the sun. And this might not seem scary to us now because we know what an eclipse is, but in ancient Greece they did not. And so the men are terrified. But thinking fast, Pericles says, well, look, if I put a cloak over your face, would you be scared? And the man says, no. And he says, well, what does it matter? What causes the darkness? Darkness itself is not scary. So this ability to break things down logically is an essential part of the discipline of perception. So you have to be wise, you have to be smart, you have to be intelligent, you have to talk yourself out of what fear wants you to feel. This is all trying to get you to a place where you can pull off the most essential part of the discipline of perception, which is where everyone else sees difficulty and hopelessness, you see something positive. So I tell this story shortly after the invasion of Normandy, where Eisenhower sees all his generals are rattled by this massive Nazi counteroffensive. And he calls them all into a meeting and he strides in and he says, the present situation is to be regarded as opportunity and not disaster. He says, I only want to see cheerful faces at this conference table. Meaning, being scared, being intimidated, not believing in ourselves, that's not going to help us move forward. So first, let's stop that bleeding, he's saying. But then let's see what good is in this. And what they realize is that this massive counteroffensive is also an opportunity because perhaps the Nazis have overreached. And so by absorbing this blow, sort of encircling them from behind, they pull off one of the biggest upsets of World War II that sets off the race to Berlin. If you've heard of the Battle of the Bulge, it's Eisenhower turning this around, flipping the obstacle, turning it into the opportunity. So that's what we do. The discipline of perception is about seeing clearly, seeing objectively, seeing calmly, and then seeing the good inside the bad, and then moving forward and taking action based on that. It's not just about how you see things. Yes, Marcus Aurelius says, life is dyed by the color of our thoughts. Those thoughts are meaningless without action. What action do you take on the thoughts? That's the essential part. The Stoics are action, action, action. And that's actually a mantra of the great Demosthenes, who I open part 2, the discipline of action, of the book with. Demosthenes has dealt terrible hands. He's got a speech impediment. He's weak. His parents die early. And then evil relatives steal the family fortune. This might have been the end of it for Demosthenes, but instead it becomes the event that spurs off his life of greatness, which is that he decides he's not going to let this stand. He is going to fight for every penny back, and he's going to bring these people to justice. So he becomes a great orator because of the injustice he experiences. And he doesn't just magically decide to do this. It's incredibly difficult. He, at one point, actually moves into an underground burrow, shaves half of his head, so he's embarrassed to go outside, and practices for years and years and years to become a great speaker and a great lawyer. He even puts rocks in his mouth, shouts into the wind. He builds up this booming voice overcomes the speech impediment, and he does bring them to justice. Sadly, most of the fortune is gone, but it doesn't matter because he won something greater, which is that he himself was now strong, brilliant, respected, and wise, and he could be a great lawyer and speaker and politician, which is what he becomes. So we can turn the worst thing that ever happened to us into a springboard for who we want to be or who we can be. It can actually unlock a whole new destiny for us. And I talk about Amelia Earhart. She is a great pilot, but this is 1920s America. No one wants to give a female pilot a shot. So when she does get this offer to be one of the first women to ever fly across the Atlantic, it seems like a horrible offer. Like, she's not actually going to get to fly the plane. She can't even be the co-pilot. She has to be the navigator. They're going to get paid. She's not. It's like a really insulting, condescending BS offer. But what does she say? She says yes. Because she knows if she can get started, if she can get momentum, she can beat this. And so she accepts it. She flies the mission. She bites her tongue. But then, using the power and the fame that comes from the coverage of this event, she becomes the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. So it's about momentum. And she actually has painted on the side of her plane, always think with your stick forward. It's about momentum. It's about taking action. It's about getting up and getting moving. Because if you don't, you crash. Or worse, you never take off in the first place. Things are never going to be perfect. They're never going to be ideal. They're never going to be truly fair. You have to work with what you can, do what you can with what you've got, and then turn it into what you want to have. This persistence is so key, though. I talk about Ulysses S. Grant and taking the city of Vicksburg. He tries everything. None of it works. It's only in trying everything and being so desperate that he tries this crazy plan where he runs the gun batteries at Vicksburg. Once it's done, it can never be undone. He has to forget about Vicksburg, head to Jackson, Mississippi first. But then, coming at Vicksburg the other side, he turns all the advantages of this fortified city into obstacles for the people trapped inside. But more importantly, he discovered how to win the Civil War, which is that it would take endless amounts of men and energy, persistence, perseverance, dedication, and taking the war to the enemy. In fact, Sherman's march, which we know wins the Civil War, comes out of the march from Louisiana to Jackson, Mississippi, and taking the war to the enemy and living off the land. So in trying everything, he accidentally discovers the way to win the war. I also tell the story of Edison and the discovery of the light bulb. 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. Whether he says this or not, we don't know. But he does try 6,000 different filaments as he's trying to get the light bulb to work. And one of them finally does. It takes years. Again, 6,000 filaments. So it's 1 out of 6,000 that work. Overcoming obstacles is really about persistence and dedication. It's also about following a methodical process. I talk about Nick Saban and the idea of the process, which builds Alabama into perhaps the greatest college football dynasty in the history of the game. How does Saban do this? It's not about focusing on winning. It's not about focusing on the playoffs. It's not about the championship. It's not even about the fourth quarter. It's not even about the first game of the season. He wants players to focus on the immediate thing in front of you. The average down in football is like 7 seconds. He says, focus doing your job these 7 seconds. You accumulate it piece by piece. Zeno says well-being is realized by small steps, but it's no small thing. The process is small and humble, but it's ultimately unbeatable. And even, writing the obstacles the way was, okay, first I got to do a proposal. Then I got to sell it. Then I got to start the book. Then I got to write, not the whole thing, but just the first sentence, and then the next sentence, and then chapter 1 and chapter 2 and chapter 3. And even getting it to sell, it doesn't sell when it first comes out. It's only 6 years later that it hits the bestseller list for the first time. It takes 6 years to sell 1 million copies. But that's because I never quit on it. I never got distracted by external results. I just focused every day on doing a little thing to make me and the book a little bit better. The other thing about obstacles is it's not always about attacking them head on. Sometimes, you test 6,000 different filaments, but sometimes you get creative. Talk about the great military strategist B.H. Liddell Hart. He finds that of all the great battles of history, only like a minuscule percentage of them are head-to-head battles where two evenly matched armies beat each other. He says, no, it's all about attacking from the side. It's about trickery and feints and the element of surprise, right? You beat your obstacles by outthinking them, by outflanking them, by outmaneuvering them. think of Gandhi, right? Gandhi doesn't beat the British army by building a bigger army. No, he uses their strength against them by accentuating his weakness. Martin Luther King does this in the American Civil Rights Movement. He says, physical power must be met with soul power. And so the greatest achievers, the people who overcome incredible odds and obstacles, don't do it by just throwing themselves against a wall. They find out if they can go under the wall or around the wall, or if they can run the other direction, and then the person on the other side of the wall, they're the one that's trapped. There's an opportunity inside the obstacle. Let's not regard ourselves as being screwed over. Let's see what we can do because of this. Persistence is key, but perseverance is when you have to hang on for years. I talk about Odysseus, right? 10 years he's lost, but he never quits. He never gives up. I open part 3 of the book with the story of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln, as you know, did not have an easy life. He grows up in poverty. His father is abusive. He loses his mother. And on top of this, he deals with this devastating depression. They called it melancholy back then. By the time he actually does become president and the horrors of the Civil War break out, it turns out this is exactly who you want leading the country at this time, because he knows what pain is. He knows how to be patient. He knows how to think about other people. He knows how to hang on. And so everything, every difficulty, every failure, every piece of pain that he went through up until this point was in fact leading up to who he needed to be in this critical moment. And that can be true for you. That's what amor fati, that's what Stoicism is ultimately about using everything that happened as fuel to become who you can become. The Stoics say, look, things can be hard, but only you can quit. You have to decide to quit. And if you don't quit, if you decide to grow or learn or be made better for what's happened, then ultimately you do win. And one of my favorite stories in the book, I tell another Edison story, which is that towards the end of his life, he's America's most famous inventor, sitting down for dinner with his family, and a man rushes in. The factory is on fire. His life's work up in flames. He rushes to the scene. There's nothing he can do about it. You know, he could have broken down. He could have cried. He could have killed himself. Instead, he grabs his son and he says, go get your mother and all her friends. They'll never see a fire like this again. This is an illustration of a key Stoic idea, the idea of amor fati. So yes, the Stoics accept things that are outside of our control so we can focus on what's in our control. But beyond acceptance is an embracing, a love of what's happened. And that's what the idea of amor fati means, a love of fate. Marcus Aurelius says what you throw on top of a fire turns to heat and brightness and flame. That's what Edison was doing, and he rebuilds. He comes back better for what he's gone through. And that's the question for you with what you're dealing with. Are you going to be better for this injury, for this loss, for this mess up, this mistake, this failure? You decide that. No event is so bad that you can't decide to learn something from it, that you can't decide to use it as an opportunity to grow. I tell the story of Admiral James Stockdale, who read Epictetus, who was shot down over Vietnam. He's taken prisoner of war, and he says to himself that I'm not going to lose faith. And he says, I never lost faith in my ability to decide the end of the story. That if I survived, he said, I was going to have turned this into the best thing that ever happened to me. And he does that not just when he gets home. It's not like dead time where he's just trapped there for 7 years. But while he's there, he's the commanding officer. He's strong for the men. He teaches them a code so they can communicate. One of the things they communicate, that tapping these cups, is US, not United States, but unity over self. He is the inspiration, the backbone, the leader that these men need while they're trapped in this horrible place. And that's what Stoicism is. It's about, even when life devastates you and breaks you, it's about stepping up. It's about making something out of what's happened. Obviously, I want you to read the book. You know, I have a leather edition, I have the regular book. But if you don't have time to read it, if you're not sure, just apply this one thing. This is a quote from Marcus Aurelius, I think summing up the 3 disciplines that we just talked about. Remember, the discipline of perception, the discipline of action, the discipline of will. He says, objective judgment now at this very moment. He says, unselfish action now at this very moment. Then he says, willing acceptance now at this very moment. That's all you need, right? You need to see things clearly, see them for what they are. That's what Rockefeller did so well. Unselfish action, what do you do for others? How can you put yourself out there, really try, not give up? That's Grant at Vicksburg. That's Edison and the discovery of the light bulb. That's Marcus Aurelius selling off the palace furnishings at the depths of the Antonine Plague, doing what you can to be better for what's happened. And then finally, willing acceptance. Some stuff happens. Some stuff is hard. Some stuff is going to take way longer than we thought. But we can't give up. We can't give in. We have to choose to be transformed by what happened. We have to use this as an opportunity to be strong, to be resilient, to be caring, to be committed. And that's what makes us who we are. So that's what I was trying to write in the book. The idea that, as that king said, inside every obstacle is always a chance to improve our condition. That what's in the way is the way. The obstacle is the path. The timeless art of turning trials into triumph, it's simple. It's not easy, as I say in the book, but you can do it. And I tried to present examples and stories in this video and in the book that you can follow. They're simple, they're straightforward, they're inspiring. I hope you check it out. But most importantly, I hope you remember Marcus Aurelius' advice. Objective judgment now at this very moment. Unselfish action now at this very moment. Willing acceptance now at this very moment of all external events. And you know what? We'll give away 3 signed leather copies of The Obstacle is the Way. All you have to do is sign up, the link below. You don't have to buy anything, no tricks. Just we'll give away 3 awesome copies signed by me. The Obstacle is the Way. To 3 winners, just sign up the link below. If you want to learn more about Stoic philosophy, totally for free, you can sign up for a daily Stoic email. It's 1 free email every morning. The best of Stoic wisdom, dailystoic.com/email.
What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? RDC World Gaming here, and I wanted to tell y'all that we about to play a new game. It's called the Anime Question Game, really. It's like 2-on-2. First of all, it's me and Desmond versus Leland and Dylan. Now, each team is going to ask the other team a question about any anime that the other team has seen. At least 2/3 of, right? And if we miss the question that they ask, they get a point. If we get the question right, then we get a point. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Did I say that right? Yeah, I said that right. So yeah, and so then also if we ask a question and they get it wrong, we get a point, and then we get to ask another question. So basically, it's like make it, take it. Winner keeps going. You know what I'm saying? So it could be some whole questions, but we can't ask questions like what happened on Naruto episode 215. Come on, nigga. Nobody knows or remembers what happens on 215. So basically, the questions have to be real questions. You know what I mean? And there might be times when they ask a question or we ask a question, they're gonna be like, hold on, don't you feel like that question too hard? Because it might be. This niggas be hard in this game. This game is a whole game. So it's the first to 5 points. Nah, because it might go out fast. I'm gonna say 6 points. First is 6 points, and then that's it, baby. So without further ado, let's get it. Let's go. One more thing I forgot to say is I ask a question, then Desmond has to ask a question. Oh, yeah. Just so it won't be like cheating. And we both, and I'm coming up with 5 cheating questions, or he coming up with 5 cheating questions. So it's like one question. I really don't know if we should allow people to see each other's questions, because it could get whole right there. What you mean? Like if Desmond showed me his question, and he'd be like, "This too easy." Could get whole right there, right? What you mean? But then it's a team game. Yeah, it is a team game. I feel like we should be able to ask that. Yeah, I feel like you can. Okay. Well, they said. All right. So the first question I'm gonna start off with is a Bleach question again. What's Ichigo's dad's name? I tried to start off easy too. I know that sounds easy. I ain't watch Bleach. But that shit sounds easy. Yeah, it sounds easy. I didn't watch Bleach, y'all. Me and Relieving, so only Dylan and Jay watch. Hey, bro, I know his name, bro. I just saw that out too. Did we get his ass? We got his ass. I know all the Bleach fans are cringing looking at me. Yeah. Like, you don't know his fucking dad's name? Bleach Cold, by the way. If you haven't watched Bleach Cold. I was just trashing names, bro. What's his name? That's why I hit Dylan with names. He's trash with names. Fuck, bro. Damn. Sorry, bro. What's his name, man? He got his ass. You done? I just seen it. Fuck, bro. What? Ishi? What's his name? I thought it was Ishin.
Oh shit. I don't know.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up.
Probably.
That sounds simple.
That'll do.
Ishin?
It is Ishin.
Oh.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, if the person who asked the question don't know the question, then it don't count. But since I said I think it's Ishin, and that was right, I got the question right, so we get to go again. We got a point, Dez. We got a point, Dez. You got a question on deck?
Yeah.
You got a question?
Yeah.
All right.
Alright, go ahead.
This is an Avatar question.
Look at that Avatar. So we holding Dylan right now.
Alright. What was the name of the place that Aang and his crew had to cross in order to get to the Earth Kingdom?
Aang and his crew.
Yeah. Aang and, Sokka and all that.
Yeah. To get to the Earth Kingdom.
Yeah, they had to cross it to get to the Earth Kingdom. What's the name of that place? Do you remember?
No. What's this? Oh. Hold on.
Yeah, right.
I was gonna name the fucking Ba Sing Se. That's the only shit I know about Avatar, bro. I
That's
know
the
it.
Earth Kingdom.
It is.
Oh, fuck. Damn.
Yeah, that was one of my, bro. Those episodes that was cold, bro.
Fuck, bro.
That's honestly, y'all. I feel like that's medium.
That is a medium tier question. It's not a hard question. It's a medium tier. Even though I didn't know it, but like that's guessable. That's guessable.
Guessable. Well, we starting off hard today.
So we good?
What is it?
Oh, Serpent's Pass.
That's too low. That's too low. So it's back to me. It's back to me. I got a question off of Mob Psycho. I say it's easy to. What is the second feeling Mob felt to go 100%?
The second?
Like, what was the second time you went?
So it's tricky. I watched this whole. I don't remember this shit.
Wasn't it sad?
I should watch it again. That whole one was like what?
It's 12.
You asked what the feeling was?
Yeah, what the feeling was.
The first one was when we fought at that school. The second one was in the alley. Or not? I don't know what the second time was.
I just want to say sad.
I don't know.
Mob Psycho was a great show too. Very underrated.
Sadness too, but
Was it sadness?
Yeah, it's 100% sadness. But y'all both didn't say the right place.
what was it?
It was when he fought the goat hair nigga.
In the school?
Yeah. But you said that was the first one. The first one was when he was inside the sidekick nigga's place.
Yeah, that's right. 100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
I knew that it was one before that though. I was like, I don't.
That's why that's
the first thing.
Yeah. It's 100% sadness when that nigga broke down so at school.
Yeah, that shit was clean.
That shit was wild as hell, bro. That shit was wild. Watch Mob Psycho, my nigga. So we got 2 right now. They got 1. Now it's their turn to get the ball.
alright. No, you know.
You got it.
Oh, we got the hoes.
Serious.
I don't
I don't feel like
I can tell y'all.
What show is it?
Look at their faces.
Oh, it's Bleach. Yeah.
Alright. What Spada fought? What Spada did Isha and Reggie fight? And then they got saved.
Ishin, are you talking about Ishin?
Who do you?
Yeah, what do you? Who do you and who?
I don't know, y'all. I haven't
Reggie
watched
fought
Police show.
Isha and Reggie
It's out of my realm.
fought him. And they got saved. By Captain Coach. The clown captain.
Got saved by the clown captain.
Yeah.
So the clown captain had to fight this spot.
Yeah.
Are you saying like, what was his name?
Yeah, what's his Spada name?
I gotta think of what a spot it was first.
Oh, you don't know? It's a pink hair Spada.
What? You helping?
Why would you do that?
I'm gonna trip if I'm back.
Ain't he in a rocker?
Huh?
Somebody the rocker.
Oh, put some fucking respect on his name.
What wait, that nigga, that pink hair nigga, that who do you fought?
What are you doing, Dylan? What are you doing?
You know, but I don't think he was a spotter, bro. The pink hair nigga?
I don't know.
I thought that nigga was just a
I didn't watch the
rock
show.
car. I gotta put some respect on that nigga name for real.
Damn.
Is it Aporo? Aporo?
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, God.
I thought I was
He gave that whole away.
That nigga fucking gay. I don't remember you know.
Bro.
It don't matter, dude. He don't want to help me.
I should have seen Lil face, bro. He said,
What are you doing, bro?
no, I think he went low. He said,
I don't know if you know what we're talking about.
Oh shit. Fuck. So it's 3-1 now?
yeah.
Alright, go to 6.
Well, y'all was hoes. But this is a soul eater question, though.
Oh, shit.
I mean, it's not. I guess it's medium. But, all right. Who was the first person to go to Medusa's place to investigate if she was a witch or not? He went to her place, though.
The first person that went.
Yeah, he went to Medusa's place, you know, the witch,
Yeah.
to investigate if she was a witch or not. Spoiler alert. Oh, man.
Soul Eater's also a good slept on anime. I gotta say it every time because a lot of niggas might not be fucking with these main shows.
It wasn't Stein. It was was it Sid?
Yeah.
I said the same shit. He said.
Yeah, he wrote down Stein at first, and he was like,
No, he was first. He got hold of it.
yeah, he got
Fucking bitch.
Damn it.
You got a question? Oh yeah, you do got.
Yeah, I got a question.
Alright.
So 2-3.
It's a One Piece question.
Okay.
Not that hard. Actually, it's not hard at all. What's Doflamingo's first name?
Bro, I know this nigga's first name. I really do. Hold on. Don't kill it.
oh shit.
Yeah, man.
You know, bro, I said, bro, what did they say his first name?
Don Quixote, baby.
They said,
That's
oh,
still clean, bro.
Attack on Titan is my question, man. Pretty easy. I feel like it's the easy tier too. I still think it's easy tier. What's the name of the person who died to help Eren gain his control all Titan's power? Gain control?
Yeah, this is at the end of the second season.
I know who it's the teacher. I mean, not the teacher, but that old, the first soldier that saved him from the mom. You know what he look like? You know
I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of what it looks like right now.
Oh, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. What does it look like?
He was a drink.
Yeah, the drunk. Fuck.
His face on.
I was under the same fucking.
Yeah, fuck. I tried to throw the control Titan shit in there to throw him off so he wouldn't think of the same niggas.
I don't know that man's name.
Fuck, bro.
They good, man.
We threw out his name.
This is a hard game because you gotta go back and what you watch and remember one certain thing. You know,
Yeah,
this is a hard game.
I don't know, bro.
Oh, I probably get it if I think about it long ago. Bro, fuck.
Damn.
You put it
Give up.
Yeah, it was coming.
Hans.
Oh my god. I think I'm running.
You was fucking German or some shit.
You got a question?
Fuck.
I don't think so.
Fuck.
Damn, 5-2. One more point here and dance with something else.
Alright.
Game time. 5-2. Hell.
I don't want to tell y'all
You're
this
some
shit.
fucking hoe.
He can't remember nothing about Avatar. We're counting Avatar as anime.
Yeah, bro.
2000.
Avatar is
Damn,
the
we
anime.
really
is an Avatar question, though.
Fuck, bro.
You already know it, though. You never know. Alright. What was the name of the place that they imprisoned Appa in the Earth Kingdom?
I don't know.
You might know it. Hey, but you remember when they prisoned
Don't give him no hints.
I just noticed that shit was in the desert. I didn't watch
It
it.
wasn't.
I'm talking about
It was a pink hair nigga who did it.
Fuck y'all, bro.
Yeah, they got captured by a pink hair nigga.
I hate to hold you on this, but I want the dub at the end of the day, to be honest.
It's true.
We only gave y'all one whole question. I feel like that was it, bro.
Which one?
This one. This not really even a whole question.
I don't know.
He might know it.
Yeah, for real.
Because I guessed it.
That nigga focuses a bit. He can't even say nothing right now.
Loud guy?
I don't know. I only seen 2:30.
It's like loud guy.
It's only my third day.
It's like my third day. I don't know.
I ain't finished the show.
Is he in there, bro? Fuck, that's good. Like loud guy?
Yeah, that's
Got that hoe. I didn't think that would get that hoe. Especially Dylan.
Joe, you got a question ready though?
Bro, I sent you one.
Oh yeah, you did. I don't have one though.
I forgot what the question was.
Who asked the last question? Oh no, Dylan asked the last question. It's Lita time.
Yeah, you did? What was the last
Yeah, you asked. Remember, you asked me the purple hair, pink hair nigga.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Alright.
Yeah. And it's actually Dylan's turn because I got Don Quixote with Leland. So it is Dylan's turn.
Alright,
What anime?
Erase. What was the mom's name in Erase?
I don't
I have
know.
Who's his mom?
The main nigga's mom.
I haven't watched Erased.
I think it started with M though. I don't know though.
I have no clue. I haven't watched it.
Oh, you haven't watched Erased?
No.
Oh fuck. Yeah, bro. I don't fucking know, bro. I watched it with Kiana too. I don't know though.
I just watched it.
Mickey? I don't know. I'm saying Mickey.
It's Sachiko.
It's Sachiko. Yeah, that's not.
Damn.
Fuck!
How much y'all got?
Y'all got 3.
Would you know?
I got 3, right?
No, oh, we don't get a point for anything on push right?
No, y'all. Do they?
Oh yeah.
They get a point? Yeah, y'all got 4 then. Y'all got 4.
Yeah. Alright. Assassination classroom question. Alright.
I didn't watch that hoe again.
What was the computer student's name? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Assassination classroom names are hard, bro.
They are, but
Was it?
please.
Like, we can't just call her AI? It gotta be a name?
Yeah.
Ritu?
That's it.
Yes! Let's go! Game time, baby!
I didn't keep gonna get that shit, but that's what I was little brother too though, so I was like, I don't know if I want to ask this shit either, because if I would have asked some wild shit, I knew you would have got that shit.
Tony Stark is one of the best engineers and most intellectually gifted individuals in the Marvel Universe, and throughout the course of the MCU, his suits have been continuously upgraded and have constantly evolved to help him deal with larger and larger threats. But one of the all too often overlooked aspects of his suit's evolutions is that each upgrade is a direct result of a shortcoming that Tony Stark has encountered. Tony Stark has taken his greatest failures, flaws, and weaknesses, and use them to inform the changes that have allowed him to upgrade his suit over the past 10 years. Today, we'll be looking at some of Tony Stark's greatest failures, and how these shortcomings influenced his evolution as a character as well as a mechanic and inventor. So welcome back to the Marvelous Wave, watchers of the Marvel Multiverse, and let's observe all that occurs. We get the first glimpse of this in the first Iron Man film, all the way back in 2008, when Tony Stark takes the Mark II out for a test flight. He tests the upper limits of the suit, trying to figure out how high he can take it into orbit before the suit begins to freeze, and its systems initiate shutdown processes. The Mark III, however, in the final battle of the film, is able to use this first upgrade to its advantage in the battle with Obadiah Stane's Ironmonger. This upgrade setting in motion an incredibly long-running precedent for the Iron Man armors that would follow. In the second outing for the Invincible Iron Man, he battles Ivan Vanko's Whiplash on a raceway in Monaco, via the use of the Mark V suit. It is important to note that the Mark V suit is the first known innovation towards making Iron Man suits portable and deployable on the fly, a system which will also be continuously upgraded throughout Tony's adventures. During this fight, however, he discovers a particular weakness for electrical overload, as Whiplash whips quite noticeably char and damage the Mark V armor. During the creation of the Mark VI, however, not only does he upgrade the arc reactor by changing the palladium base to his own custom element reminiscent of the Tesseract's energy output, but he also ensures that this suit is adept at resisting and absorbing energy output. We see this upgrade on display when he first encounters Thor in the first Avengers movie. Thor hits Tony with the bolt of lightning not too dissimilar to what Whiplash did on the raceway, only this time the lightning supercharges Tony's suit to over 4,000% capacity. Tony would continue to make advancements on suit deployment, upgrading the Mark VII to come to him via the use of a specialized wristband. We see this at the beginning of the Chitauri invasion, and later we see an upgraded variation of this idea in the Mark 42 suit, which uses implants embedded directly into Tony's arms to deploy the suit from presumably anywhere in the world. After the Battle of New York and the events of Iron Man 3, Tony, being able to see what kinds of widespread destructions that superpowered battles could cause, began construction of the Iron Legion, seen in Avengers Age of Ultron. These drones were specifically designed to assist in crowd control and help keep civilians as safe as possible during these altercations between superpowered individuals. The Hulkbuster is one of the most notable upgrades which arose not due to a prior failing, but as a contingency plan to something that may very well become an issue in the future. It can be argued that upon seeing the Hulk's rampage on the helicarrier, Tony and Bruce decided to develop the Hulkbuster armor. But it is even more likely that simply knowing of the Hulk's destructive capabilities led to the suit's design. The next series of upgrades directly resulted from the Civil War conflict and play a direct role in Avengers Infinity War. One upgrade came as a result of the third act of Civil War arc, in which Tony went head-to-head with Captain America and Bucky in a Cold War bunker. Being confined to such a tight space, Cap and Tony resorted to hand-to-hand combat, and while Tony may have had the suit to assist and protect him, Tony is far more adept at flying around, keeping his distance, and utilizing his mobility to his advantage. Cap, however, is a far superior combatant, and given the circumstances and proximity of space, was ultimately able to overpower Tony and damage his arc reactor to a degree of shutting down his suit and escaping with Bucky. As a direct result of this, he programmed his Mark 50 nanotech suit with the capability to create a wide array of melee weapons, ranging from blades to shields to rams, in order to give him an edge in close quarters hand-to-hand combat. This allowed him to face off against Cull Obsidian and Ebony Maw on the streets of New York, as well as the Mad Titan Thanos himself. Still concerning the Mark 50, another one of the potentially overlooked upgrades is his advanced flight thruster that he used to board Ebony Maw's ship and save Peter Parker. This advancement came as a direct result of not being fast enough in the past, but exactly when, you might ask? Hardcore MCU fans will already know the answer. When Rhodey was incapacitated by the Vision in Civil War and fell to his near death, which resulted in severe spinal damage and paralysis from the waist down. While the Mark 50 is arguably one of the most advanced suits Tony has worn to date, it is still not without flaws and room for upgrades. His fatal flaw in the conflict with Thanos was that the Mad Titan was able to strip him down systematically, destroying more and more nanoparticles as the fight went on. As these nanobots were continuously destroyed, Tony lost the ability to craft a fully capable suit that almost resulted in his death on Titan. Therefore, Tony incorporated the use of what appear to be specialized hollow shields similar to Wakandan shielding technology that we see in the Mark 85, the final Iron Man armor. We see this when he shields himself from Professor Hulk's snap, allowing him to preserve nanobots and elongate the durability of his suit in combat. If he doesn't need to use the nanobots to create shields, he can save more of them for combat purposes. Though Tony does not only make these upgrades for his own suits, he also ensures that he takes his own experiences into account when gifting these suits to others. Throughout the course of Spider-Man Homecoming in particular, we see multiple examples of this. Tony ensures that Peter's suit has an advanced tracker, likely as a result of having spent weeks lost in the desert of the Middle East while in the clutches of the Ten Rings all the way back in 2008. With nobody around to help him and no way for his loved ones to find him, it's very probable that he ensured that he could always track Peter not to be an over-controlling father figure, but likely for his own safety in the life of a superhero. He also ensures that Peter has a specialized heater in his suit, which may have been added as a direct result of Iron Man 3, in which Tony crash lands in Tennessee and is stranded in the snow-lined forest in only very light clothing, after being forced to drag the Mark 42 what may well have been miles in the freezing snow without even a jacket. He may have been inspired to provide Peter with the built-in heating system. Finally, he ensured that Peter had a parachute in his suit. While it's likely he was just looking out for Peter's web-swinging shenanigans and preparing for an eventual outcome, it's important to note that at this point, Peter hadn't been swinging between buildings. In Homecoming, he tells Karen that he had never been as high as the top of the Washington Monument, and seems to show a mild fear of heights, implying that he had not yet graduated to swinging between buildings down the streets of New York, and had not yet become comfortable being so high up yet. Since he doesn't likely foresee Spider-Man flying anytime soon, it therefore stands to reason that the likeliest inspiration for this upgrade was somewhere in his past, possibly falling from the Chitauri portal at the end of the first Avengers movie, being thrown from Stark Tower just hours earlier, or watching an entire city being launched into the sky in Age of Ultron. Whatever the reason, Tony always ensures that he learns from his failings and the things that went wrong, to ensure that he can always better protect himself and those that he cares for. What perhaps makes Tony one of the most dangerous and most formidable Avengers isn't in his raw strength, nor is it even in his vast intellect, but in his ability to adapt and overcome obstacles by learning from his mistakes and being able to continuously grow into a stronger and more capable fighter and Avenger. But anyway, my friends, what do you think of this evolution of Tony Stark's armors? Are there any example of times Tony upgraded his suit in response to a previous battle that we missed? And as a big question for the end of the video, what is your favorite Iron Man armor? As always, my friends, hit that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and have a great day.
It was only a few days ago that the world looked on in shock and horror as OnlyFans announced it would be banning any sexually explicit content. Pornography would no longer be allowed on the platform. With tears in our eyes and a soft cock in our hands, we knew it was time to move on. And move on most people did. Thousands and thousands of people abandoned OnlyFans after the announcement of the pornography ban. And I think it was 5,000 new applications per hour were being submitted to competitors' websites like Fansly and shit like that. OnlyFans did the unthinkable. They put a shotgun in their ass and pulled the trigger. They committed suicide on the big stage. I think this will go down as one of the dumbest decisions any company has ever made in the history of shitty company decisions. OnlyFans will be talked about in the same sentence as Blockbuster and Tumblr. It was the most predictable outcome ever. If you ban the only thing people go to your site for, you're obviously not going to have those people go to your platform anymore. OnlyFans banning porn is like Steam banning video games. It's nonsensical and it kills it on the spot. There's just no universe where OnlyFans is able to pivot away from porn and become some kind of wholesome, family-friendly platform where old Meemaw's got an OnlyFans for her shuffleboard team for exclusive content. That's just not going to happen. No one's ever going to really use that as a main platform for cooking, sewing, sports and fitness like they were claiming it would be. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and in 5 years we can look back at this video and point and laugh at how stupid I was to say that, but I just can't imagine OnlyFans will ever be able to get rid of its identity as an adult platform. That is what it is built upon, and that is what it has become. And now today, in the most predictable backpedal of all time, OnlyFans announced that they made a mistake and will no longer be banning sexually explicit content. Who could have seen that coming? Now, before I really spread apart those ass cheeks and dive into the big story, I just want to say, I was right. I fucking told you so. I'm gonna Gangnam Style on you real quick and wiggle my finger, letting you know I told you so. A lot of people said I was wrong and OnlyFans was never actually banning explicit content. They were only banning illegal porn, such as bestiality and incest and shit like that. But that's not the case. They did a blanket ban on all sexually explicit content. That was their plan, and they changed their acceptable use policy to reflect that. It seems no one actually read the acceptable use policy but me, so I want to share that with you now. Keep in mind this has changed, but when they announced porn would be banned, this is what they had in their policy. According to the new acceptable use terms, users would no longer be allowed to upload, post, or display content on OnlyFans that shows or promotes, advertises, or refers to sexually explicit conduct, which means no actual or simulated sexual intercourse, including genital to genital, oral to genital, anal to genital, or oral anal, between persons of any sex. No actual or simulated masturbation, any exhibition of the anus or genitals of any person which is extreme or offensive, or any actual or simulated material depicting bodily fluids commonly secreted during sex. They were doing a ban on actual pornography. It wasn't just illegal shit, it was any kind at all. Basically, with their new rules, had these gone through, it would have been only allowed to have solo images of you, just kind of like as an artful anatomical nude photo. That's about it. Like, let's say you were the Mona Lisa and your titties were out, that's fine. As long as those titties weren't honking milkers with a little bit of sweat on them or something, because that would fall under the bodily fluids and that would be banned. Or at the very least, it was vague enough that it would fall into that category. Same with depictions of the genitals that's extreme or offensive. Like, how do you even enforce that? The lines between the extreme and offensive would constantly be being blurred. Obviously, you'd have your outliers, like if 2 Girls, 1 Cup was on OnlyFans, that'd probably fall into the extreme category. But like if I just have a picture of my nutsack, I mean, that's kind of casual and playful, right? But I guess you could make an argument that it's extreme because it'd be like a close-up of my nutsack. But it's not like I'd be dipping it in candle wax or anything, so I don't know, it'd just be very vague. So everything that was sexually explicit could fall into any of these categories and get you banned. So yeah, just wanted to prove that it really was a full Weenie Hut Jr. mode they were going with OnlyFans. It was a complete gutting of the adult content on their platform. So all the people that were spreading the rumors about it only being illegal content, that is just blatantly wrong. Now, of course, all of this came from payment providers pressuring OnlyFans to clean it up, and today they announced that, well, there's no reason to even have payment providers if there's no one to pay. Everyone fucking left OnlyFans. OnlyFans basically ran into a movie theater shouting fire and then were surprised when everyone left. And now they're desperate, scratching at their neck, worried about how much money they've lost now. And they're just crying everything. Please, God, come back. We're going to allow porn. We want to see your butthole. We support you, sex workers. Please, we mean it. Just look at our tweet. I love that this tweet starts with thank you to everyone for making your voices heard. It almost makes it sound like they didn't expect this to happen. Like if someone's boss just walks in and fires the entire office, I think they would expect most of the office workers to be upset. If I go and slash a guy's tires, I would think he'd be mad at me. I don't know what the fuck OnlyFans expected here. We have secured assurances necessary to support our diverse creator community and have suspended the planned October 1st policy change. That was the porn ban. OnlyFans stands for inclusion, and we will continue to provide a home for all creators. That's a broken household right there. That's an abusive home right there. That's the kind of home you go to and dad comes home drunk and starts beating you up for your lunch money and then kicks you out. That is not a home I think many people want to be in anymore. Most people are only using it temporarily before they make the full switch to other platforms, and the ones that did go back are doing it in conjunction with the other platforms because they don't trust OnlyFans anymore. And for good reason. OnlyFans tried its best to jump off a bridge to kill itself, but then everyone tried their best to bring it back in. Like, it's horrible. It's a very untrustworthy platform. Out of nowhere, they decide they're going to ban the only thing their platform is used for, and then out of nowhere they say, okay, actually we're fine now. Like, how the fuck did you solve the problem? So they kept saying it's pressure from the banks are forcing this, we have to do this, there's nothing we can do, and now today it's like, actually, no, we're good. No, we're totally good. We can have porn back. Fuck it. You know what? Christmas has come early. We want to see you spread your pussy again. Bring it on back to OnlyFans, baby. So, what changed? And how? They don't communicate any of this. They're not a very trustworthy platform, obviously. So, it makes sense why most people don't want to go back to it. I really am curious how they solved this problem, because the way they talked about it made it sound like OnlyFans was truly defenseless against the banks. Which does make sense. Banks hold a lot of power. If you're not able to process payments on your platform, it's probably not going to last much longer. Like, what are they supposed to do? If someone signs up to someone's OnlyFans, they just put $5 into an envelope and mail it to OnlyFans HQ? So it's absolutely like a real problem if the banks were forcing OnlyFans to make these changes, but the way that they were able to immediately reverse it today sounds like they may not have been as strict as OnlyFans led them to believe. And keep in mind, OnlyFans really wanted some investors from everything I read, so who knows? I'm not going to put on the tinfoil condom here. You know, I'm not going to get into conspiracies. But I just wonder how they were able to strong-arm the banks so quickly into allowing porn back on the site. Really makes me wonder if it was ever necessary in the first place. Who knows? It also could have been a case of maybe the CEO was getting nostalgic. He was scrolling through all the creators on the platform. He saw big puffy nipples, massive areolas, titties, pussy, ass, cock, balls, everything, and he just started to get this sinking feeling in his stomach like, what have I done? This is all gonna vanish and it's because of me. You know, like that moment when they invented the nuke after the Manhattan Project and shit, now I am become death. OnlyFans CEO had one of those moments. He's like, I can't do it. I'm not pulling the trigger. Revert it. We need it back. I don't care what the banks say. This is for me now, god damn it. It's a passion project. So then he just green lights porn back on here without the banks ever saying it's okay. Anything's possible. All I can say is this was the dumbest decision I've ever seen a company make, right up there with Tumblr banning porn. But this one was even stupider because this is a porn platform banning porn. So yeah, just a really shitty decision, and it completely fucked their platform, and probably will continue to fuck their platform even though they've reversed it now. They've proven they're an untrustworthy site, and most people are pretty fed up with that. Just wanted to talk about this again because this story is continuing to be a wild and wacky ride. That's about it. See ya. I've got a wild and wacky ride to take you on today, class. So hop in my magic school bus and kiss me on the lips. I'm Miss Frizzle, baby, and I hope you're ready to fuckle your seatbelts, because we're coming in hot. This is the story of how a Twitch streamer and GTA RPer named SavX faked his own death in order to distance himself from the GTA RP community. So, SavX was a GTA RP streamer on the NoPixel server. It's the server that I often frequented for my RPing. NoPixel, I love the community, absolutely fucking fantastic content, and Sav audience on Twitch and had himself his own big community. I believe at the time of his faked death Chris Angel stunt, he had right around 1,500 subs on Twitch, which he just fucking wiped his ass with this. Just threw it all away for this fake death thing. Which is like right out of Hey Arnold with that Dino Spumoni character who faked his own death to increase record sales, except this is 10 times as stupid. Fucking Dino Spudummy. I don't know okay, I'm getting a little sidetracked already because it's getting me a little heated. Sav played the Johnny Castle character on the server and was eventually banned for cheating because he was aimbotting in GTA. I don't know how much more sad you can be to fucking aimbot in an RP server in GTA. But they fucking busted him, they threw him in the slammer, and they permabanned him. Now, just real quick, permabans don't usually mean like forever, you can never come back, because they do believe in second chances in most cases. So he was banned for the cheating, but I'm sure he could have come back to the community at some point if he wanted to. A couple friends of his decided to check in a couple months later, and they posted these messages.
Conclusion that this is not Sav writing this. Sav passed away Christmas afternoon. This message is being written and sent out now through my brother's email after obtaining access to his PC. He's gotten numerous emails, messages since November with individuals worried about him from a gaming community. From what I've come to gather, although the nature of the emails all seem different, we'd like the individuals who have reached out to know he's in a better place now And we thank you all for keeping him in your minds.
There was also this Twitlonger posted by somebody else in the community that was close to Sav, which confirmed that Sav had passed away. The news of Sav's passing was extremely sad, and the NoPixel community really felt the loss. There's this tribute video that was made to Sav. His fans were absolutely inconsolable, really mourning his death. His close friends in the server were mourning his death. They had an in-game memorial for Sav in order to honor his memory, and overall people were just really feeling the sadness over Sav's passing. There's also this memorial stone in the game that has the name of players who have passed away in order to immortalize them in the world and the community and honor their memory, and you can see SavX is on there. So you can imagine lying about something like this and causing this kind of emotional ripple effect would make you the most extreme piece of shit possible. Like a piece of shit that took a shit, then got puked on and hit by a garbage truck. That would be the piece of shit you'd be to lie about something like this, right? That's exactly what Sav is. He is that putrid pile of dog shit, because he lied about all of it, and the server owner, Coil, started to have his suspicions and piece things together and eventually confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt that SavX is alive and completely lied about the entire thing. So I'm going to take you through some of the clips where Coil starts going over things that don't make sense until he ultimately reaches the conclusion where he hires a professional to confirm it.
I don't know if you guys know whose this Twitter is. Okay, it's Sav's. All right.
Steam.
Joined January 2021. Okay, so I don't know if you guys knew the date of when he had passed, but this is after he'd passed away. So you go to his Twitter, which is linked to his Twitch page, and it also says this. We did some searching with his name to try and find obituaries and stuff. I know, like I said, this is weird. Everything says to me that he's not actually dead. But there's also this weird shit that ran me to DeLong. Now, we had this for a while, and this was literally 2 weeks ago, right?
So let's go through these Discord screenshots for just a moment. Rami was one of Sav's closest friends in the community, and then eventually just tells him that he faked it all, even hitting him with a Pog, oh, I faked it all, as if all of it is just so entertaining to watch people genuinely mourn him. So he says that he knows people actually think he's dead, and then he just says, but you know I'm toxic as fuck. Let me just hop in here for a quick PSA. If you're one of those insufferable douchebags who self-identifies as toxic or I'm an asshole, whoa, can't do anything about it, sorry, just me being me, I'm just an asshole, I can promise you whatever friends you think you have are not your real friends. They probably don't like you very much and will not actually defend you ever. And that is exactly the case with Sav. Nobody likes the guy who's proud of being an asshole. Nobody. Not even like-minded assholes, because then your assholes collide into like this human centipede formation. You just don't get along well. It's like the same polarity on magnets. You just repel each other. Nobody likes that, and I promise you, you don't have friends if you are one of these people. You just don't. You can tell Rami is upset here. He pushes, saying you could have just wrote out your band, but Sav says he needed to do this. He wanted to be done with the community and shit, and then says, but dog, Pog O, because he finds this whole thing to be a joke, like genuine mourning from people he finds to be some kind of joke. So this dude's just fucking sick. He defends it by saying he just wanted to be done with the whole community and all of that, and he just wanted to move on from it. But Sav, I think you're probably one of the dumbest streamers to ever stream on Twitch, because you weren't just done with the NoPixel community, you killed an entire career. 1,500 subs? That's more money than most people working real jobs will ever see in a month. 1,500 subs a month, not even counting donations. That puts you in the $3,000 to $6,000 range a month. And you fucking put it in your butthole to kegel it as a regret for the rest of your life because you got upset at the NoPixel community for banning you. And you had a little fucking temper tantrum and cried a little bit, and and you wanted your revenge. Oh, I'm gonna fake my own death to make them all feel bad for banning me. Yeah, they'll miss me now. And you just threw away an entire career. Even getting banned, you could have just transitioned to another game. And like Rami said, just ride out your ban, because perma-bans aren't forever. You can come back from them. Fucking XQC's been perma-banned like 30 times, and I'm sure he'll be back again soon. Because people grow. They get better. They learn from mistakes. XQC, every time he gets banned, he comes back and he does incredible RP, does great work. And I'm sure it probably would have been the same for you if you could learn to stop cheating, I suppose. But to do this is so fucking psychopathic and just downright stupid, I can't believe it. You threw away a career for nothing. Like, you have streaming GTA RP. That's like a dream job for 99% of the world, and you threw it away because you got upset that you were banned. So stupid. Now, I would like to address what some people will likely speculate, that maybe he was hacked and he actually did pass away. You know, maybe his Discord, his Twitter, and his Twitch were all hacked at the same time, and they sent that message to Rami. I think the likelihood of that is extremely small, and especially considering that Coil himself put the whole thing to rest with a complete conclusion, hiring a professional to find him in the real world and confirm that he is truly alive.
We got someone to investigate some shit, like hired a guy or people, and it's 100% confirmed that he's alive, by the way. There's literally zero doubt. Actual evidence, okay? So we got all this information, but obviously I can't release it because that's pretty much doxing. But we know everything about him, like names, addresses, and all that shit. And, you know...
So that's where this story is at so far. I trust Coil when he says that he confirmed it. This guy is an extremely thorough man. He does everything to the best possible ability that can be done to. So if Coil says that there is no doubt whatsoever that Sav faked the whole thing, then I truly do believe that. And that is so sad that someone could be so pathetic to fake their own death because they were upset about a ban in a game. How dumb can you fucking be? It's crazy. But yeah, so this was quite a wild ride. I was following this story as it developed, and from only a week ago he was only speculating based off of these weird things with the Twitter account and all of that, to now being completely confirmed. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. That's about it though. See ya. I'm sure by now many of you have at least heard of the EDP-445 situation. That sounds like some kind of fucking Call of Duty Zombies Easter egg, but for those that don't know, EDP-445 stands for Eat That Pussy. He was a big YouTuber. He had a huge online presence, and this week he was accused, and with a lot of evidence backing it, of being a pedophile. And with video evidence, him showing up to a meeting place where he believed he was meeting with a 13-year-old that was actually set up in very similar style to like a Chris Hansen investigation by a YouTuber, Predator Poachers. That name actually is shared by other people who hunt predators, but today this was done by one person, or one group in particular, and that person, the big face behind it, is not a good person at all. And that's why I wanted to do this little intro here, because I want to make it clear that there's no heroes in this story. You can't root for the person behind the investigation of EDP. They did a good thing, but they're a shit person. The main guy behind Predator Poacher has had a lot come out about him recently, showing his prank calls to a BLM hotline where he just says the N-word. He said the N-word, hard R, multiple times. Believes he's like an edgy troll, but his trolling is just saying the N-word. Epic prank, and he's just not someone that I can really appreciate the work of, but he and his group were the ones that broke this story on EDP, who is a very bad person as well, who, with all of this evidence coming forward, which is pretty damning, have put together this whole case against EDP-445, and today I watched it all on Twitch, streamed it with the community, so that way we could all be caught up on the internet lore together. I've heard it's really bad. So yeah, the general gist of it, EDP-445, a huge YouTuber, very popular YouTuber. I personally wasn't super familiar with his work. I'd always heard his name though, stands for Eat the Pussy 445. So this came out a day ago, which was to hype this up. I think this is only reading text messages, and this is when he actually showed up. This is the only thing I've seen. This guy has a fucked up past. Like, even on this channel, apparently some videos that are still up from streams where he'd call BLM and drop the N-word to them or something. Like, he'd call organizations supporting BLM and just start dropping the N-word or some shit. Like, this guy is not a good guy.
So, everybody go subscribe right now. Go subscribe. And, if you want to see the full chat messages...
I'm sorry to interrupt again. Another thing, the reason this video took so long for them to put out is because he wanted to wait for it to get full monetization. So that's why he kept hyping it up, and the reason why he kept pushing it back, because it wouldn't get full ads on it. So, this guy's kind of a real piece of shit, if I'm being honest. Like, he does a good thing in the worst possible way.
And show interest.
Who starts a conversation like that?
You're old, so...
What?
Bit of talk.
Dropped a mean ass shit. Man, they say fucking chivalry is dead. This guy is suave. Now that is how you flirt. That's a good line for Tinder, I'd say. If you guys need any help on, like, your game, take notes from EDP. Dropped a mean ass shit. And then send an audio message. Do I have to go to the other ones in order to... He sent a picture of his shit? No fucking... Alright, hold on. Does this... We're gonna have to keep going back and forth. This is gonna be like an MLA formatted fucking research paper here with citations. For these text messages, if I want to see them uncensored, do I have to go to this stream? So do I have to, like, cross-reference the uncensored versions with the stream here? I can't show a picture of literal shit on Twitch, but I need to confirm whether or not he sent a shit pic. That's very bold. Just ordered some pizza, about to fuck this shit up. Pizza sounds good. Hell yeah, I'm about to annihilate that shit. Okay. Oh! He sent a picture of his shit! Dropped a mean ass shit, and it's a full loaf. This man, he's sending shit pics. And that is not a healthy shit. That's very runny. There's no solid foundation of the stool. That is alarming, considering he just annihilated a pepperoni chicken pizza. He also sent his dick. Yeah, but that's not nearly as cool as a shit pic. EDP was breaking new grounds. They were only just starting to talk. It had been 2 days, I think. And then he hits her with, drop a mean ass shit, and then sends a picture of his toilet bowl with poopy in it. Yeah, I'd show the other video, but I'm worried of how many pictures of shit he might have sent. Like, what the fuck is this? Hi, how are you? Good, how are you? Good, just having lunch. What did you eat? Tacos. That's cool, what are you doing? Just got done beating my shit. Now watching YouTube. Oh yeah, I just had some tacos. Also just beat the fuck out of my cock. What are you doing? Yeah, he sent a picture of his actual unedited shit. He didn't even put like a cute little emoji over it, so I'm a little concerned to show it. I think we're right here. How is this possible? I just went to a random point in here. How is the bathroom trip going? Going great. I'm fucking this bitch up. What the fuck? Are you sure he only sends one shit pic? Like, it seems like that's all they talked about, was him shitting. I went a little too far. I skipped ahead in the lore. I was at 14 minutes, not 20. But I accidentally spoiled chapter 2 here, it seems. I like this part. Relax, I'm not a weirdo or anything. When literally 5 days ago he sent a picture of his actual shit in a toilet. No, we're doing both videos. The only reason I'm going back and forth is because these are censored and I want to understand how we got here. Oh, he seems bothered that she's 13, but then for some reason continues to talk. Oh, okay, here we go. So he has like a realization here. Not enough to go to jail over. Okay. So how does he continue to, like, fall for this, then? I was eating a corn dog today and the bitch burned the roof of my mouth. I spit that shit out so fast. Alright. Just a little PSA, don't take pictures like this. These kind of picks just never really work. It's just kind of a weird pick. Make sure you get some good flattering angles. You don't need to put like a ton of thought into it, but just enough to know where it doesn't look like you're crawling under someone's bed. Where are you ticklish? On my back and stomach. If you ever want something from me, and you want it, the easiest way would be to tickle me. Okay. I hope you don't tickle me, that's my weakness. If EDP was a boss battle, tickling would be his weak spot. That'd be your DPS phase. One of these days, I'm gonna surprise you, put my hands over your eyes and be like, guess who? That's like the worst surprise ever. That'd be like the last way I'd want to be introduced to somebody. Ugh, this is so fucking weird. Want your first kiss to be enjoyable. This really does remind me of To Catch a Predator, like the chat logs that they'd show. So he was like super into nibbling on her ear and being tickled and shit. Started talking about sex, and then here he had a realization like, that's fucking illegal and wrong and bad. And now we're caught up. No, we're not. Oh my god, this is still not it. Cute little fingers. Oh, how did this... Okay, what? How did this happen? Literally, like 10 messages ago, he's like, this is bad. Can't do it. We can be friends. Cute fingers, by the way. So you want to have sex? I can go easy, of course. Wait. Nah, EDP doesn't go easy. He goes ultra nightmare mode. There's no slowing down there. Man's just a fucking machine. I honestly enjoy doing what my YouTube name says. Eating the pussy. Yeah. Munching down on those beef curtains, baby. Yeah, there you go, EDP. What's the 445? Just a random number I chose, nothing to the meaning. Definitely has meaning now. I think the 445 absolutely has meaning. The amount of years he'll spend in jail. Well, probably not. You guys, I didn't know this. I learned this the other day. You guys remember Jared Fogle? The guy who had like 15 quadrillion quadruple bytes worth of child porn on his computer, as well as like openly admitting to abusing kids. You know he only got 13 years in jail? Did you know that? I thought he got life imprisonment. This man had so much child porn they had to invent a new way of measuring how much he had. And he only got 13 years in jail. This had to be like a full-time job texting this guy. Putting in 9 to 5 hours here on the text messenger. Can't wait to hug you and kiss you. On the lips. On the cheek. On the neck. And I'd kiss and taste you down there. The vagina. The old vagina. Man, EDP really does just have a way with words. I love to kiss and lick the top of the foot. I love the toes, actually. Huh. So I can lick and suck your boobs. Pretty incredible. How does it feel? Pretty incredible, to be honest. The nipples get hard and really sensitive. I'm telling you, this is a lie. EDP went full fanfic here. He didn't fuck a school teacher. He didn't suckle on her nipples. This doesn't sound like anything a school teacher would say. I'm gonna know more about EDP's fucking life than his therapist does. There's so many text messages. For a virgin, the vagina is tight. Oh, here we go. Getting a health ed course from EDP, the man who just sent a picture of his shit. Basically, when intercourse happens, the penis is stretching open the vagina and forcing those muscles to temporarily stretch apart from one another. That's where the pain comes from. Ah, yes. She should have quizzed him. And what exactly does the potassium pump do in the body, EDP? You seem very knowledgeable on anatomy and physiology. Can you complete my homework? You used the wrong form of your, EDP. Some teacher you are. Your body is full of excitement and anticipation. You're wrong, your again. Your body, I'd anticipating the sex. Poetic. Shakespearean, in fact. I also like roleplay. Hey, that's where you dress up and pretend to be Chris Hansen arresting me. It's a big fetish. Babe, 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 babe. My cute ass little baby girl. how many days have passed since he said, "We can only be friends. This is illegal. This is bad. This will fuck me up if it ever got out. I can't do this." And then he immediately goes into, "Babe, babe, babe, let me suckle your nipples." Man, he really knows what to say. I ran out of toilet paper while taking a shit at the auntie's house. Hey, now I'm starting to get a little hot and bothered if I'm being honest. This guy's just smooth. The amount of times he's told me about his shits that he's taken, sent me a picture of his shit, how can I not start to fall in love, you know what I mean? Such a sassy little shit. I love it. Come to your house, climb through your window, and kiss your cute ass passionately. That's the only solution. Alright, climbing in like the tooth fairy, but instead of leaving money under the pillow, he leaves a little kiss. A little nibble on the ear. Maybe suckle on the toes a bit. Whoa, what the fuck? Handcuff you, throw you in the back of my car, and bring you back to my dungeon. That got really intense super quick. What's brewing? If I'm being honest, it's that I can't wait to feel how tight your vagina is. Cock is really hard. That's how it gets when guys get horny. He's really gone in hard now. He's fucking firing in the turbo boosters here. Before it was like, oh, I can't wait to just put my hands over your eyes and say, hello, surprise. Right into, fucking how tight is that pussy? My rock hard dick is about to burst. Ugh, you even have me jerking off. Damn you. He's shaking his fist in the air while he's jerking off. And God damn you. Fuck. Why have you done this? Oh, okay, hold on. I just read that. Let me just make sure there's nothing there. Hold on. I'm not taking any chances here. Oh, he actually sent his cock. Oh, God. What is happening? He's going wild in the text messages now. Fuck. He's busted nuts twice in a single text string? Lord. I'm gonna come. I'm gonna send it on Instagram. It's not letting me send videos here. What the fuck? That's cum, babe. I hope he, like, came into a glass or something, or like a petri dish and stirs it around like a whole lesson. Ah, madame, this is splooge, also known as semen. Many other names. Basically, whenever it feels so good to the point where I can't take it anymore. That's what happens, yes. The milk, the cream. Holy shit. You weren't kidding. This is really, like, fucking bad. And then the fact that he actually shows up. This is actually horrible. Oh no. He's becoming self-aware. He starts to recognize, like, shit. These could actually be screenshotted. Oh, and then from that concern, immediately back into, like, playing the health teacher. I know your body is growing and starting to develop. That's why I agreed to this. I want to be your first, little cute ass. Want to bend you over my table and oh! Just want to throw you on my bed and lick you up. Oh! What the fuck? This is worse than, like, 50 Shades of Grey writing, and that shit's horrible. They unironically use the term, like, sodden panties in that book. What do you think about that? I like that conclusion, as if you just dropped the mic. Yes, I want to fuck your fucking butthole. I want to butt fuck your pussy. So what do you think? Will you invest in my company? Like it's Shark Tank? That's probably the face he made when he went to meet her in person, and it was just two dudes with a camera. That's probably the exact face he wore right there. It's like a YouTube shocked thumbnail. Of course, real vaginas don't produce lube. Is he a virgin? It's not like vaginas are just dry. It's not like sticking your cock into, like, sandpaper. Maybe he just means, like, it doesn't produce Astroglide or something, like a specific lube brand. Like, they don't have, like, it's not like Spider-Man's webs, like in The Amazing Spider-Man, where you have to, like, put new web slingers in there for vaginal lube. But vaginas actually do get lubricated themselves. They're like a self-lubricating apparatus, really. Kiss your daddy goodnight. Sleep tight, princess. So this is when he finally started to believe this could all be a fucking setup. As if there wasn't an entire fucking 3 seasons of an extremely popular show all about this exact same thing. Even being fully aware of this very real possibility. Literally for like the 10,000th time in this conversation. Yeah, I guess every time he busted a nut, he started to realize this could all be fucking fake and a setup. But then after post-nut clarity faded away, he went right back to the, let me suck your fucking toes and take a shit.
Here, he doesn't want to be. Let's go have a talk. How about on that bench right there? Okay. Okay.
Can we give him a lav mic so we get better audio? Let's really go in here. Put this on, EDP.
Coming out here to...
Glasses off.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I was actually coming out here to pick up a cupcake and then go back home.
Oh, okay.
There was...
Do they sell cupcakes in this driveway?
Oh, okay. So you should title a video instead of your video almost threw hands with a 13-year-old. You should title your video almost hands with a 13-year-old. I think that'll get a lot of hits, EDP.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this is you.
Good one. So he's got like a whole little routine prepared.
What made you? So you initiated a conversation with a 13-year-old knowing she was 13, yes or no?
Correct.
Okay. So is that a good...
That guy in the background's trying so hard to seem like he's not listening.
You've been exposed for this before.
Correct.
And you called them, but this is damning.
Right.
This is, I had to make sure myself.
Right.
Do you recognize me?
No.
Okay. I had to make sure myself.
Well, that didn't really work. You don't have the Chris Hansen prestige yet.
Me and my friend Keisha.
Do you know who I am? Nope.
Hilarious, man.
Okay, that hurt.
What I don't understand, why are you attracted to like 13-year-olds? Like, why are you attracted to underage?
That's a good question, yes. Why do you like children?
In one of the
asking the hard-hitting questions.
You've always wanted to be with someone younger. Like you like cops. Right. Like, what goes through your head?
They should have rehearsed a little bit like what they want to ask.
Real, man. What goes on?
So why are you a pedophile?
Is loneliness, dude. I'll be completely honest with you, man.
Do what Chris Hansen does. He does a really good job with interviews.
Let me, because we're not like that. We're not like that. We're not attracted to minors.
Bro, come on, man. You know exactly what it is, dude. Right?
No, we're attracted to female our own age, dude.
Let this be known. Let this be known. I am not a...
So what are you? If you're here to meet up with a 13-year-old girl after sending...
He hit it up like it was a catchphrase. Hey, not a pedophile.
A guy that is...
But we can forward this to cops because most definitely this is not your first time either, right?
Right.
This is absolutely not.
Whoa.
This actually is my first time.
You just said it wasn't your first time.
Yeah,
Second time?
that was a bit rough on that one, EDP.
The first time was...
You've done this before, yes.
So
but I mean, no, though.
Right?
Yeah.
So, now, as far as the whole fantasy goes, you know what I mean? Let's be real, okay? You know what I mean?
Like,
what does that mean? Stop saying you know what I mean.
Don't know what you mean.
Fantasies, that's what I mean.
Okay, so sexual, and I'm not calling you the P word, if you know what I'm talking about.
Look at these screenshots.
I'm not calling you the P word.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Do you fantasize about females under the age of 16, yes or no? Sometimes.
Yes.
Okay.
What are you doing? Holy shit.
You fantasize about a 13-year-old, correct, yes or no? Okay.
Holy shit. This is fucking rough. Holy shit.
I know, but you said earlier it was your first time.
Okay.
Oh my god.
So we'll get to that. So you said, so 13 is the fantasy. Like for me, okay, 18. I think there's hot 18-year-olds. I wouldn't do anything with a 17-year-old.
Right.
But there's hot 17-year-olds.
Right.
But I don't go, yeah. When I see a 17-year-old, I'm just like, I can't do it. Like it's just not right.
What are you going on about?
Maybe about 7 months ago.
This is just an extremely long confession. He's not fighting any of this.
What was it that made you realize?
Holy
like,
shouldn't
For example, it's a bad analogy. You know, like if there's a hot 19-year-old into me, I'm like, oh, awesome. But if there's like,
what are you talking?
I shouldn't say there's such thing as a hot 12-year-old. But if there's a 12-year-old into me, a 13-year-old.
Jesus Christ.
I would never. So what makes it okay to you for you to come here?
It doesn't make it okay. I'm just being honest with you. The screenshots, of course, I did. I mean,
but like, why would you send it to a 13-year-old? Like, that proves that you were turned on by it.
Well, he said that a million times. We know that.
Because you were hard when you were doing. Obviously, yes or no?
So
He said that millions of times. I read it. I felt like I knew his cock pretty well by the end of those messages.
honestly,
Chris Hansen did it very well. Chris Hansen was a beautiful weapon against pedophiles, but YouTubers are not. Like, the only reason this video even surfaced is because they were finally able to get full ads on it. If this video never got ads, this wouldn't have even come out. They would have just let it ride, or let it die. They really just in it for, like, views to exploit bad people like EDP. This one seems staged. Okay, I can tell you this one is definitely not staged because his entire YouTube career has ended. This one is definitely not one of those fake ones. I can assure you of that. Like, even the interview it's not even an interview. The questions are, so you're a pedophile. Why? I also like hot girls, but if they're 17, it's like, they're hot, but, you know, I can't do that. It's like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, you should have just taken Chris Hansen's script. You know, not this. Did they call the cops? That's what I don't know. Like, I don't know if they even get law enforcement involved. If you take their word for it, they do. But I don't know. I don't know enough about them, so I couldn't tell you yes or no. I would hope so. Like, if they went through all this effort, did a full investigation, and didn't give it to authorities, they should also be at some level responsible for, like, endangering minors to allow someone like that to continue doing their shit. So I would think that it would go to law enforcement at some point.
But this isn't the first minor you've talked to before, correct?
right.
And there was more than one minor.
Holy
because
shit.
Last summer, I've had all these females reach out to me about you, and you know, at first I was like, okay, attention. Honestly, I was, but then I see more and more and more, and I see you saying if anybody finds out about this, you're.
Oh, what a good way of looking at that. Hey, I was manipulated and abused by this guy. Attention, whore.
Ballpark number of how many minors you talked to, like, you know, obviously it's been 5, so. After 5, what would you say the number is? 6. 6 minors. Name them.
6?
let's see.
Holy
So,
shit.
There's what was her name?
Is he just making this up? Because he's, like,
No.
actively making everything worse. I feel like he's just making up names.
Like, yo, what the dude? Like, real talk, man.
Obviously, you didn't go what the F because you're talking to a 13-year-old. I believe you did know her age before, yes or no?
Wrong. How old was the girl? Which one?
This is unreal.
About right now.
What the cameo?
I believe. Oh, you in the cameo one, right?
The one where you talked about
The boyfriend hit
asked
you up
her
for
to
the cameo.
Send you private.
He's the prime, Matt.
Probably 14, maybe 15. I'm not sure, but that was
number 2.
Seeing this really makes me appreciate Chris Hansen's work even more.
You do explain why you find her attractive, but I was just trying to.
I guess I never even stopped to consider how hard it must be to do something like this.
Girl number 3, girl number 4.
This is so long for no reason. They're saying nothing. They're not actually interviewing him.
In all these situations where you're in
Okay, I'm just gonna skip a little bit. Do you guys mind if I skip a little bit? This is really bad.
Like I thought it was last summer.
You're soliciting child photos from this girl. That's another charge, you know that, right? Do you know how many charges you did here today? 3. More than that.
What, you counted them like Pokemon cards? Three charges, collecting them all?
2 counts of graphic photos. You asked for graphic photos from this girl, and you came here to engage in sexual activity with a 13-year-old.
Well, hold on. This is like an actual question. Like this is actually hitting him with something. Actually something.
They're misdemeanors. They're not infractions.
Hold on, let me see where this goes.
They're felonies.
So you were also a little bit submissive to her, yes or no?
So well,
You were a little bit submissive to her, yes or no?
I was.
Do you like being? Do you have a fantasy? So you did make you fantasize about 13-year-olds, yes or no? Okay. Do you also?
This guy's like the only guy that's actually
a little bit, yes or no?
trying to go somewhere with this.
What about a 13-year-old?
And you have the audacity to say, please don't do this. Are you serious? You recently asking you, please don't do this to minors.
I mean, he's like that guy, or the girl in Game of Thrones walking around with the bells. Shame. Shame. Well, yeah, he needs to get picked up. What are you panicking for? He's clearly calling a friend to get the fuck out of there. He's trying to get extracted from the mission.
Okay, please come quick. He's calling. It looks like he's calling some backup. Okay, all right.
Oh, this guy sucks. Looks like he's calling some backup.
So be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. We have a ton of new viewers. It'll help us a ton. We flew.
I knew there was going to be a subscriber call to
Texas
action.
EDP. So be sure to subscribe.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. Okay. So that is fucking rough. That was a lot worse than I thought it'd be. EDP got fucking blasted. Yeah. The investigation, I think, was a very good thing done by very bad people. I did also see this one. The things this guy says are really bad. Like, racist, all kinds of horrible shit from this guy. And a lot of people have taken note of it, but not everyone. I don't think this guy should be gaining so many subs for this shit. He did a good thing, and he tried his best to make a lot of money off it and capitalize on it, constantly calling for subscribe actions, refusing to post the video till it has full ads. So, I think the guy sucks, but what he did was good. And when he's talking to this guy in particular, he keeps talking about how... So, I'll break it down. The guy here is suicidal. He gets caught and he starts talking about how he's suicidal, he's tried to kill himself a couple of times, and in response, this guy says, you can't kill yourself because you're Jewish. That'd be a hate crime. What are you, some kind of Jewish Nazi? And then he keeps saying that for like 5 minutes. Like, that's his whole joke. He has like a little stand-up routine about why this guy shouldn't kill himself because he's Jewish. It's horrible. I actually, before finishing this up, I do want to look them up one more time. They claim that they've done this before, and the chat has told me that they've had people arrested. I want to see that. Okay. Let me just immediately show you why I doubt that these guys actually care and are doing this for a good cause. Just going to their website. This is the first thing. Before you get anything else, you get payment plans. This is fucked up. So now where can I find out their track record? Have they actually gotten bad people off of the streets? Or do I have to pay to get that information? Holy shit. Making merch for hunting pedophiles. That's so weird. What does that merch even consist of? It's gonna be like one of those, like, cool dad shirts, like, I'm a veteran, I didn't fight in wars for you to look at my daughter, I'll put you in the ground. It's gonna be like one of those. I hunt pedophiles for views on YouTube. Or for money on YouTube, excuse me. At least Anxiety War, I do know the channel, at least they seem to actually want to do something good, and being successful is just, it came with the turf for them. Like Chris Hansen. Though I wouldn't really compare Anxiety War to Chris Hansen, but what I'm saying is at least they seem to be in it for a good reason. And there's also no information on the site except for buying things. I just wanted to know, do they have any proof that their investigations and this content they've made has actually gotten anyone arrested, put away, off the streets, anything? A lot of you said that they did, so I'm just wondering where you found that information. Who wouldn't want to walk around with a shirt that says Predator Poacher Hunters Club? That'd be pretty cool. So the first thing that comes up when I look this up, vigilante investigation creates issues for prosecuting cases. Talking about the Predator Poachers. Wonderful. There's not a lot that the police can do to sanitize a bad investigation from a legal perspective. So they actively made it difficult to prosecute a pedophile. They're doing the opposite of helping. Yes, here's the main difference. Something I talk about. Things like To Catch a Predator is done in collaboration with the law enforcement. So that way it's done in the right way so that they can actually face legal ramifications. Okay, so here's a positive one. I don't know if this is the same group because the guy behind it asked to be uncredited and unnamed, which does not sound like the Predator Poacher guy at all. But a vigilante predator hunter got 2 people arrested, and one of the charges stuck. I don't think this is the same group, though, because the guy explicitly asked to not be named. Whereas this guy wants all of the limelight possible for as much money as possible. So I don't even know if that's the same guy. But if it is, something has really changed along the way. That was in March of last year. Yeah, the benefit here is, as opposed to the other ones, EDP was a public figure that was preying on children. So even if he doesn't get any legal charges, which I think the evidence is there that should work, even if he doesn't, he's now lost the platform where he was preying on kids. So that in and of itself is a good thing. I would normally agree with that, No Bud, but the thing is he was using his public platform to prey on people. So he should be publicly shown in this light, so that way people can avoid him. I think that is very much the right way of handling this case in particular, to make it all public. I don't think anyone's sympathizing with the predator. It's really just a matter of the person who caught the predator is so unlikable that you can't help but mention it when talking about the story. I really don't think there's anyone on EDP's side. Everything he said and did is deplorable. But when you have the guy who caught the predator saying, like, quickly get here, he's calling for backup, you can't help but be like, holy shit, not only is the pedophile evil, but this guy's also evil. Like, you know what I mean? It's hard to just focus on one guy when they're both bad. If you're standing up, you're going to want to sit down for this announcement, because I'm coming in hot. I'm about to hit you with the truth. I am not a drama channel. I like to joke about internet drama quite often. I think it's very entertaining to talk about some petty internet shit that goes on when egos collide and just other weird stories from the internet. I think that's very enjoyable. But I've never wanted my identity to be someone like a fucking teenage girl that constantly engages in drama or stirs up controversy with others on the platform. I know some people would disagree, like, Charlie only does drama these days, and that's fine to have that perspective. I just personally don't see it that way and never really want that to be my identity. So this will be the last video I make about vegan gains. This will be the last time you hear Voldemort's name leave my mouth here. So I made that video addressing the controversy, talking about the video Vegan Gains made about me, calling me a hypocrite for eating meat, and calling out someone who tortures animals on YouTube. He's made a follow-up video. He had a 4-hour stream, which I tuned into because I wanted his perspective. I did open that video up for a dialogue. I thought that's what the goal was, but Vegan Gains has made it clear he doesn't give a fuck about a conversation. He only cares about milking the attention. So right after I posted my video, he went live on YouTube where he watched my 10-minute video for about an hour and a half. I want to say right away, I don't condone people going to harass anyone I make videos about. I hate that behavior. I will never encourage that shit. So the people that went there just to make fun of him or anything like that, you never ever have my encouragement or my blessing to do so. I think that shit sucks. But that did happen. He spent an hour and a half watching a 10-minute video because he'd stop every 2 words to screech and scream one of 3 things, one of only 3 phrases he seems to know: straw man, ad hominem, and poisoning the well. It was a truly insufferable live stream to sit through, but in between his constant short-circuiting where he was only able to regurgitate one of 3 words and talking about the Holocaust and rape, he made good points. He had very sound arguments that I respected. And not just respected, 100% agree with. But sitting through that live stream was tough. The constant pausing
The Rock
to
pisses
dissect
me off.
each word was more painful than listening to the animal screams in a slaughterhouse. But in between having a macho man meltdown where he'd, challenge people from the chat to come fight him if they disagreed or whatever,
3:30
he
in the
said,
morning.
Charlie, if you want to talk
I
about
wake
it,
up 30
let's
minutes
talk
before
about
you
it,
do.
which I had every intention of doing because, like I said, I thought that's what the goal was. We'd say our piece and discuss it. However, a mere 2 hours after the live stream ended, somewhere in there, he put up another video addressing it. Even though he had just gone 4 hours thoroughly dissecting everything, he made another video just to milk those titties, get a little extra drama out of this whole situation. He started his stream a little bit before I started streaming myself, so while he was still going, I had already started streaming. By the time I was done streaming, he had already posted another video that had been up for like 2 hours. So it seems like only a couple hours after his stream that went 4 hours dissecting it concluded, he made another video just to really reach deep into the colon of controversy to keep getting some attention out of it. I don't see what the point of the live stream was when you were still made up your mind about making another video, regardless of if I took you up on a debate or conversation offer. So to me, that seems like you don't even genuinely believe in having a conversation. You just really want the attention from this whole situation. So to me, that seems like you really liked all of the donations you got during your stream. There was a lot of those trolls, like I mentioned, that were donating to make fun of him, and then people in his community donating to support him. So he made a lot of money off the controversy while covering the topic. He did send me a tweet asking if we could have a conversation while I was streaming, and by the time I saw the tweet, the video had already gone up. So he had already made up his mind that he was going to continue making videos about the drama to really squeeze every last bit of extra views he could get out of the situation. So again, after watching the video, a lot of points I agree with, and he even pointed out things I personally thought I messed up on. For example, misrepresenting points, that wasn't my intention. For example, the dog, Dr. Seuss tale he told, the weird shit about someone goes in their backyard and shoots their dog. The way he said it was, someone shoots a dog in their backyard. To me, that sounds like someone has gone into someone else's backyard and shot a dog for no reason. But I misunderstood what he was saying. With his galaxy brain, he was talking about the owner going in the backyard and shooting their own dog. It was a genuine misunderstanding, not some kind of sinister way to try and twist what he was saying. The main thing that you're right about 100% is in my initial video, I didn't make any arguments to counter you. I absolutely did not. That wasn't the goal of the video. I wasn't trying to debunk you or fight you on all of your points or anything like that. There was a few that I didn't understand clearly, like the dog thing, but I wasn't trying to counter you. That wasn't the goal of the video. The purpose of my video, the point I was making, is the way you conduct yourself, your character, is the worst thing for veganism and the worst look to people that are already sympathetic to your cause. You're not going after the actual animal abusers, you're going after people in the fitness industry that eat meat. You went after me because I called out an animal abuser, but I eat meat. You yourself didn't call out animal abuse. I imagine you'll do something for H3H3 because he called So Young out and he eats meat. You're not going after the actual problem. You're going after people that are already sympathetic to it and driving them away. That was my point. I wasn't arguing your beliefs because I'm not trying to convert you to my side or anything. And I don't care that you criticize me. I have thick skin. I can take it. Half of my content is dedicated to criticizing things, so I expect it back. The point I'm making is your entire history on YouTube has been actively shooting the idea of meat substitutes in the foot to people that aren't in the know. You say a lot of it's geared towards education, but if you look at the video you made about me, only a chunk in the middle seems educational where you talk about the alternatives and, well, here's what you could have done. That's educational. The entire second half of the video is you call So Young a piece of shit, look in the mirror, you're a hypocrite, 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 you do this, you're a hypocrite, she does this, she's not a hypocrite, you're a hypocrite, big hypocrite. That's not educational and it doesn't do anything. You're not challenging my beliefs, you're not making me reevaluate the way I look at things, that's just you doing an attack. And it's a big leap as well, the way you go about it. But since you want to play this game, I'll hop in the swamp with you for a moment and fight you on some things. Your comparison to me eating a chicken tender being the same as So Young torturing animals on YouTube for entertainment, if not worse, that is just outright ridiculous and you're fucking delusional. It's hard to have, like, an actual cohesive argument to that because it is so outlandish. That's like me saying you support the abuse of women and children by buying tickets to a movie. Hollywood has abused child actors and actresses constantly, so by you having seen even a single movie in your life, you have supported that. It's a moral high ground anyone can take against anyone for anything. You wear a gaming headset during your streams. You realize those parts that compose that gaming headset, a lot of them are made in sweatshops. Very, very immoral means of getting those parts, and you're wearing it freely. So by wearing that, you're supporting that kind of terrible thing in the world. I'm of course not the only one to make this comparison, but you keep dodging it. On Twitter, a user proposed the exact same thing, and your response was, oh, you're just retarded, you're not nearly on the same level of intelligence that I am, you don't know what you're talking about, I'm holier than thou, you're wrong. Look at Foxconn. I don't know if you're joking or if you're actually dumb, but Foxconn actually does use minors at their factories in China. They're being investigated for it. It's pretty well documented. And Foxconn's an extremely terrible place to work that's well known for workers committing suicide. So I don't know why you'd use this as an example to somehow dismiss the argument. But even if you did cherry pick like the world's best factory, it doesn't dismiss the comparison. That'd be like me saying, hey, look at this incredible slaughterhouse that treats its animals extremely well. This is representative of all slaughterhouses, right? It just doesn't make any sense. You just come across real dumb here. You're also pathetically lying on Twitter. I've never blocked anyone on YouTube. I had to Google where I could even find that feature to see if anyone's blocked. There's nobody even listed there. This is just an outright lie. You also act like you're some huge war hero that came out triumphant over this incredible internet battle where you slap me around on my arguments. But I didn't make any arguments. You said yourself I didn't make any arguments, so I don't know what you're going on about here puffing out your chest for. You also act like I'm afraid to talk to you, as if I'm hiding in some underground bunker in a shelter, avoiding the boogeyman of veganism, which clearly isn't the case. You decided to turn this into a video war back and forth instead of waiting for me to respond or see if I even wanted to respond. I only had a window for a couple of hours in between your live stream and then your pathetic speedrun attempt on YouTube drama by posting a follow-up video to Farm Controversy, and I was streaming during this window in the first place, so it's not like I've had all of these opportunities to touch base with you. You've made it clear your intention isn't a conversation, it's to just keep milking drama, getting as many videos out of it as you can. And if you want to go in the hypocrite route, you're a massive fucking hypocrite. You have a Teespring where you sell Vegan Gains cotton t-shirts. Cotton is not only one of the worst things for the environment, we'll go ahead and set that aside because I don't think you give a fuck about that. We're going to talk about its direct impact on animals. The production of cotton accounts for 24% of the global insecticide market. Insecticide in the cotton production often leaks into the water supply of the nearby areas and threatens biodiversity and directly poisons the animals. So by you selling cotton t-shirts, you are directly killing animals. And not just that, you're profiting from it, which is even worse. In fact, it goes beyond that. You're paying someone else to make these cotton t-shirts for you, which are killing animals, and you're making money off of it. It's pretty extreme, man. That's a lot worse than what meat eaters do, people that eat KFC. I actually don't even eat KFC, by the way. That was the first time I've eaten KFC since I was 6 years old. And I really don't eat red meat. That was the first time I've taken a nibble of red meat in about a decade. But what you do is so much worse than those things, because people that do eat meat like that, the animal's already dead, with or without them buying it. But for you, that shirt didn't exist until you put it in production, so you actually just brought it out there and have some blood on your hands, whereas meat eaters, they're a little bit cleaner than you in that regard. I double and triple checked to make sure this was actually your merch store because I couldn't believe that you wouldn't know about the impact cotton has on animals. I'm sure you know about the impact on the environment, that's pretty well known, but animals specifically. Because that seems like something you'd be very well aware of and want to avoid, but it is yours. I found it through your YouTube video announcement with it, and I get the video itself as a joke, but the shirts are real. I can order one right now, and people have ordered them, and I have to wonder if they know just what kind of impact that has on animals, and if they're okay with that. I know cotton is deemed vegan-friendly, but I don't get why. Animals aren't directly killed to make cotton, but the production of cotton directly leads to animal deaths and getting rid of a lot of homes for animals. Now, I'm pretty sure you're probably finding a way to tap dance around that fact or dispute it. You're very tenacious, but there is a point that you can't fight on when it comes to cotton. We'll use the Aral Sea as an example. The Aral Sea was the 4th largest lake in the world for a time, but during the 1960s, local government diverted the waterways that fed the Aral Sea into cotton production because cotton production is so water intensive. Over time, this drained the Aral Sea, and it's now the Aralkum Desert. It's just completely empty. There's no lake there anymore. All the fish that lived there are dead. The animals that inhabited it and used it as a watering hole are no more. They've either moved somewhere else or died as a result of the poisoning. Now, I know you and a lot of members in your community feel that you are 100% in the right and anyone who eats meat can never be right and is in the wrong, but I'd argue what you're doing is a lot worse than someone that's eating a chicken tender or people that eat meat to survive or just as part of their diet since it's financially cheaper than a lot of the alternatives at the moment. You are profiting off of directly hurting animals through the production of your merchandise. I really can only imagine how many times you've stopped this video on stream by now. I imagine it's well over 100. It's probably about a 3-hour stream by now dissecting each part of this. But I have to say, in your words, what's your excuse? There's plenty of alternatives to cotton that don't damage the environment or hurt animals. Why didn't you use those options? Why'd you choose cotton? I even decided to check all around Teespring and people talking about Teespring because I thought, well, there's no way Vegan Gains would let this fly. There's no way he wouldn't know about this. Maybe Teespring's doing something totally different, getting their cotton in a different way. Like fucking Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood alchemy, just bringing it out of existence or something where nothing's getting damaged. But I couldn't find anything like that. All of their stuff is sourced outside of the US, and I couldn't find too much information on how or where exactly the procedure. So there is an option for 100% organic cotton, which is a little bit better than normal cotton, but you didn't choose that option. You chose 100% cotton. So there really is no excuse. I want to make it clear, I actually don't believe these things. I don't think this way. I'm just going by your line of thinking by comparing me eating a chicken tender to me being worse than torturing live animals on a YouTube video aimed at children. It's a very silly way of interpreting things, and you can see just how silly it is when you apply it in different areas like this. It's silly to ignore the fact that living in this day and age comes at a cost, and unfortunately that cost is animal lives. Vegan Gains, you may not eat animals directly or use products that are directly derived from animals, but a lot of the products you use every day have had animals die for that production. For example, you made a video talking about toilet paper being out in your area because of coronavirus. Well, as I'm sure you're well aware, toilet paper comes from trees that animals once called home. But as deforestation continues, deforestation leaves so many animals dead and homeless just to provide that toilet paper for you, Vegan Gains. So that toilet paper you're wiping your precious asshole with has blood on it because those animals have died because of that production of that toilet paper. So you yourself are a hypocrite just for existing in this world because everything that surrounds you at some point down the pipeline had an animal die because of it. So there's no reason to draw this distinction between eating animals is so much worse than using products animals have died for. These are the same thing. Animals die on both sides. It's just a matter of which one you have morally deemed worse than the other. You march around like you're this morally superior celestial being, but you're really not. I don't find you to be like this moral authority of YouTube. Throughout your entire history on YouTube, it's been a controversial one. One thing you've done pretty often is make fun of people with cancer, which I think is very low. Even recently, it's not like you've progressed past an edgy stage. Recently, you made fun of a bodybuilder who took a picture with a child with cancer.
Cancer is an almighty killer, and I wish there was a cure for it. I, for one, will be supporting Team Lewis in the future and hope you guys will too. One day, cancer will be a thing of the past and the memory of Lewis will live on in the cure when it's found.
Well, Eddie, since we're still waiting for that cure for cancer to be found, how about in the meantime we try and prevent ourselves from developing cancer in the first place?
Vegan Gains defends this clip vehemently by saying he's clearly not mocking this child with cancer, but I don't know how he can possibly not see how it seems like he is by the way he's talking. If I talk to you that way, Vegan Gains, you'd think that I'm mocking you, right? Like, my name's Richard and I'm so mad at meat. That sounds like I'm making fun of you, doesn't it? That's exactly what you did to this kid in this very tough situation. He goes on to talk about how red meat is, very correlated with cancer. And I don't know what Vegan Gains' degree is in, but I actually did go to college for human sciences. Concentration was exercise physiology. I've taken numerous nutritional courses. Richard talks about carcinogens. One of the first things you'll learn throughout nutrition in university, at least in my university, is that's the most obsolete way of looking at cancer-causing agents in food. Every single food out there is a known carcinogen. Even the safe stuff that your mom tucks you in at night saying is safe, will watch over you at night, like broccoli. Broccoli is a very well-known carcinogen. Almonds too. Everything is a known carcinogen, and the way Richard presents this is extremely misleading. He presents the research in a way that makes it sound to his audience that if you eat red or processed meat, you're gonna get cancer. And while yes, red and processed meat is significantly worse than a lot of other options out there, it's extremely fucked up, and he always makes it sound like it's the person's fault they got cancer because they ate red meat. It's disgusting. I really think it's pretty fucked up, and I don't know why you think you have this moral high ground just because you're a vegan. It's a belief that you've instilled in your community as well, where everyone that supports you or supports veganism as a whole thinks that they can never be wrong, and anyone that eats meat is automatically wrong, so they don't even want to hear their opinion. They get locked in this bubble, which I think is terrible, because hearing different opinions leads to growth. It helps you discover things about yourself, learn new perspectives. As cliche as all that is, it's the truth. When you're locked in an echo chamber, nothing really gets done. I don't know you personally, Vegan Gains. From your videos, you seem well composed. Your live stream was a different story, but again, I understand with everything that went on. But the way you come across, I would have to guess you don't have a single friend that is a meat eater. I get the impression that you couldn't stand to be around someone that is a meat eater because you find it disgusting, and you couldn't see yourself associating with someone that has a different belief than you on that, in that field specifically. I feel like you'd constantly be trying to prove them wrong or prove why they're a bad person in relation to you. It just seems like you need to be around sycophants that constantly echo your beliefs. I could be wrong, I don't know, but that's the impression I get, because that's the way you're perceived on YouTube, by the way you're attacking everyone that's having meat on their plate. You're not really educating, as I pointed out earlier. You are still just going for an attack route that doesn't challenge beliefs, it just seems hateful. Another thing you have asked me and many other people, what's your excuse for not going for meat substitutes when you admit that they're better than real meat? Well, not everyone is as financially secure as you are. Meat patties from Beyond are much more expensive than traditional beef patties. It is $12 per pound of meat from Beyond versus the $4 per pound of just regular beef. It is a significant price difference that not every family can afford to make the switch to. In addition to that, in my area, personally, the grocers around here have a very limited selection of vegan options. In fact, there's a single rack that has Beyond, Impossible, and other meat substitutes as well as vegan options. It's extremely rare to come across. Now, yes, it could be ordered online, but then it's even more expensive from certain retailers. It is a more expensive lifestyle choice that not everybody can make. And to vilify people for either not being able to afford it or find it or know about it, I think is very wrong. Even during your own live stream during this, someone donated to you thanking you for the good work that you've done. They believed that you were doing a good thing, and you were helping them stay on the vegan path. He said he was 90% vegan, he still eats cheese occasionally, and the first thing you said to him was, you're not vegan. There's no such thing as 90% vegan, you're either vegan or you're not, you're a vegetarian. And you talked down to him. He was a fan of yours and you belittled him in front of the entire stream when he was very happy to support you financially, and you still talked down to him because he wasn't vegan enough for you. Which is something I've noticed in your comments as well. When I talk about veganism in your comments, I'm really not talking about as a whole. I'm talking about certain bad actors in it. A lot of people in your comments attack each other. You know, a competition to be the biggest vegan. I feel like the content you make isn't geared towards getting people over to your side and seeing these great things veganism has to offer. It's more geared towards just getting high fives of approval, like, yes, you fucking owned that meat eater. And I just don't see why you wouldn't try and take the route of, here's what good things veganism has and you might be interested in. Hey, I see you were talking about animal abuse, you clearly care. Here's some interesting things, which you did kind of touch on, but then still wanted to get those little, ass pats from your community in the comment section of, yeah, you fucking owned him. And I really do get the impression that it's just for the sake of milking a controversy because you made so much money during that live stream off it. And I think that's the worst part of it. Like I said, I had full intentions of having a conversation with you. You really didn't give me a chance because you had already posted a video by the time I even saw it. Before I even had a chance to reach out to you. You had clearly made up your mind that, yeah, I want to continue this. And now I just don't see why I would go on to debate you or bring you on the podcast to talk about it when it does seem your intention is just to grow from the controversy. You're getting a lot more views from this controversy, and like I said, you made a lot of money during that live stream. Again, I will never condone anyone going out of their way to harass anyone or anything like that. I have always vilified that kind of behavior and put it in a bad light, but unfortunately it's the internet, and there are bad actors that do that. And for that, I am totally sorry. But I don't really have an interest in continuing a conversation with you past this video because I don't get the impression anymore that it's even genuine. I feel like I'm just playing into your hands to keep a toxic, one-sided debate going when we're really both in agreement on a lot of things. I just don't like you as a person, the way that you're conducting yourself on YouTube, the way that you're driving people away who are interested and would want to learn more. And even people in your own community, like, hey, I've been inspired by you and I feel like I'm doing a good job going vegan, you telling them, no, you're not vegan. So I am sure you will respond to this either during a live stream or as a video, probably both like you did last time. But I don't think I'm going to continue this one-sided dialogue we're having here. And again, I want to reiterate, I have nothing but respect for veganism as a whole. I truthfully just don't like how Vegan Gains is portraying its appearance online. I don't like the reputation he's giving it, and that's the really only point that I was ever trying to make. That's about it. So yeah. This is the most hostile comment section on YouTube, and I feel like I can say with a high degree of certainty that this is the longest argument ever in a YouTube comment section, lasting an entire year and spanning roughly 500 some replies. Now, with this kind of anger, you would expect the video to be some kind of politically charged video, or maybe somebody said anime should be illegal or that lollies are a crime, something that really puts a hate boner where someone's flaccid cock once was. But what if I told you that the video that all of this is taking place on, the most aggressive comment thread on YouTube, was actually on a Paper Mario song? I'm going to take you on a journey through this war zone here. We're not going to read every reply just because there is so many. This thing's longer than the fucking Bible, honestly. but we're going to go through the big parts, the big moments here in the manga, make sure we get the gist of what's going on, because this may be one of the greatest stories ever told. It's got it all. It's got a little something for everyone. A story of betrayal, violence, love, terrorism, action, drama, mystery, and most of all, Mario. Chapter 1, The Catalyst. This is where it all begins. This is ground zero. Lunar1314 leaves a comment saying, I don't care if I get hate because of this opinion, but this is my favorite Paper Mario final boss song. A bold and brave hot take. Someone didn't tell Lunar that opinions are illegal on the internet. It's not the most controversial thing to say, it's simply a matter of liking a song. But this is the internet, and you can't like something that somebody else doesn't like. A lesson our boy Lunar here is about to learn the hard way. Enter the villain, Aramaru 1837, because you're like 9, haven't even played the other games, I guarantee you. And now, just like the Powerpuff Girls when the hotline rings, our hero rolls in, Dave Matthew. These are our primary characters. Of course, we get introduced to other important side characters throughout the season here. The lore gets very deep, trust me. But this is basically the Batman and the Joker, Dave and Aramaru. Dave sweeps in defense of Lunar. How about we agree that you are a jerk? Everyone can have their own opinion, and that is the internet, so no one cares about your opinion to begin with. Also, instead of throwing insults at me, why don't you try to get me to see things from your perspective? It would be a lot more time efficient, and unlike insults, actually accomplishes something in the long run. Or you can continue to assume that I am a mere child that does not know of the 5 other Paper Mario games, or was it 4? Or has even played them, both opinions being completely wrong. But as I said, it's the internet. We can go in circles all day and night and neither of us would get anywhere. So let's not, okay? Dave trying to get out ahead here and squash the beef, giving a fair warning to Aramaru that you do not want to fuck with Dave, but spoiler alert, Aramaru pokes the sleeping bear. You never gave your side, dumb fuck. All you did was come on here talking about some damn opinions or some shit. Pretty clear you didn't intend to accomplish anything. Also, you haven't played any other game, have you? It's not hard to know how many Paper Mario games there are, kid. 64, Thousand Year Door, Super Paper Mario, this garbage, and Color Splash, which was actually not bad, but was too weird gameplay-wise to be called a Paper Mario game. And it's this comment right here that makes a good boy go bad. You do not question Dave Matthews' understanding of the Paper Mario franchise, and you do not do it on a public forum like this, and be an asshole about it. The opinion haver that started all of this comes back in here, kicks open the doors to the Church of Paper Mario with tears in his eyes like he just watched his parents having a fight, saying, all I said was, this is my favorite final boss song in the Paper Mario series, but it turned into a huge fight and I don't understand that. And then Aramaru hits him with a hard dose of reality. You said you don't care if you get hate, so obviously you do understand, dumb fuck. Unfortunately, Lunar just doesn't understand that his initial comment was like the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, and now he's started a massive war. And in war, Lunar, there's casualties. I know you can say whatever you want, but please, can you please calm down and make a nice comment to people? Like I said, please not say about 1,000 cuss words with this reply, please. It's not hurting you to read a quick fuck. Look, I'm understanding everything you're saying. I'm just here to calm you down. Not everything in the world is solved by anger. Jedi Brooklyn Green comes in here and tries to reason with Sith Lord Aramaru here about how anger's not the key, but it's all for nothing because Aramaru has already been consumed by his anger. Like I said, I am cutting out a couple things here because there is so much of it, it'd be like a 10-hour video if I read the entire chain. Basically, in a nutshell, Dave was saying this is pointless, it's an internet argument, let's just drop this. And he concludes his monologue with, well, since we both agree that this whole thing is pointless, let us just agree to disagree and be on our way then. Aramaru, cool, so fuck off. Peace was never an option. Nah, seeing your pointless insults because you can't come up with an actual comeback to my remarks is rather funny to me. Heh, I thrive off your pointless rage. Thought it was done. Why you still here, idiot? As I said, I thrive off your rage and anger. You want me to stop? Stop being angry. Easy. Dave Matthews is slowly accumulating power like a spirit bomb fueled by Aramaru's rage. He is laughing in the face of Aramaru's anger. Not angry, dumb fuck. Piss off. See? Angry. Not angry, dumb fuck. Piss off. I see that you're running out of comebacks. I can give you a few if you need them. Dave, of course, being one of the world's leading comeback dealers. Not stressful, you're just annoying, lol. And there's plenty of music better than this shit, even from Color Splash. Uh-huh. Why don't you go back to your 1,000-year-old game and super overrated Paper Mario game? Your screen, oh boo-hoo, let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin. Oh wait, I broke it. If this was done, why did you reply? Metal Mario coming in here just spitting straight venom in the face of Aramaru here, lighting him on fire with the world's smallest violin comment. Nice try, dumb fuck, but I haven't even played any Paper Mario games except Color Splash. Now fuck off with your shitty excuses for jokes, people have better shit to read. When I initially made it to this chapter the first time and got blindsided by this plot twist, I fucking recoiled into my chair, threw my arms in the air, I was just so absolutely shocked. I felt like I was witnessing history, like I am your father level twists here. This is subverting expectations done extremely well. Not Game of Thrones Season 8 bullshit. This is how you surprise a reader with a narrative plot twist. Who could have seen this coming? If you remember back to the genesis of this whole mess, it started with Aramaru melting down and breaking shit in his room over the fact that somebody liked a Paper Mario song he didn't like, and then accuses them of not having played any of the other Paper Mario games, and then only a short 100 replies later, he himself admits he's only ever played one Paper Mario game, and it's not even this one. It's so fucking remarkable. What an incredible twist. That is character development right there. Now we're getting a little bit of the origin story of Aramaru here, which only makes him even more mysterious. Well, I see my sympathy was misplaced. You seriously judge a game on what other people say about it? You sure have missed many a good game. Also, shame on you. Don't give out criticism if you don't actually have the knowledge to back it up. It's just stupid to say something's wrong and then give no evidence at all to support your theory. And that's researching 101. This guy Reddits. Also, it appears that you really do only know how to spit out insults. I'm gonna have fun with this. Hello again, my old friend. I see you're here to argue once again. Too bad this will end with you weeping, because your argument is less than the dust I'm sweeping. But you will not give up yet, because you don't realize that it's the internet. So you might as well be voiceless, as all arguments here are practically worthless. Dave Matthews goes full Robert Frost here with this personalized slam poem to Aramaru. I get that it's supposed to be a Sound of Silence parody, and it's executed wonderfully. A special song poem about the argument you still persist on despite the flaws in your argument. P.S. You still haven't told me what your favorite song in the series is. Did I ask? No, bitch, I didn't. Fuck off. Shut the fuck up. I didn't even read what you said because I just know it's dumb as shit, lol. Come on, man, he took the time to write an entire parody song for you. The least you could do is read the lyrics. For about 4 days, there was peace in the comment section where people were going over things they liked and didn't like about the game, and then Aramaru comes in full fury here, pitchfork in hand, ready to slap shit around. He reignites the argument by saying, obviously do if yo pussy ass won't just leave the conversation. Dave says, ha ha ha, now I remember why I stick around. I'd love to see what kind of pathetic retort and comeback you are going to make at me that I can easily tear apart. Really, it is rather satisfying to see what you come up with. Once again, there was a truce called in the comment section for about a week, and then Aramaru came back, and Dave immediately noticed. He's like the NORAD defense system, able to hone in on Aramaru's presence and then attack. Oh, hello there. Ready for round 2, my little whiny failure? Round and round the argument goes, when will it stop, no one knows. That meme has been dead, fucking idiot. I'm ready for you to piss off, you worthless fuck. I did not drag your pride through the mud and make you look like a brainless, arrogant maggot. You did. You destroyed your own argument. You ignored the statements that made you look like a fool. You chose to spit out nothing but insults. Your fault. Your stupidity. Deal with it. Or stick around and continue to look like a moron. It's entertaining. And besides, we win either way. And you lose either way. Dave hits him with some kind of superhero monologue right before he throws the bad guy in jail. And Aramaru says, don't care to read your arguments, lol. As a matter of fact, I only read the first reply, lol. Quit wasting my time and fuck off. Then you are nothing but a bottom-barrel fool who will have no success in life. As I said, you don't bother to defend yourself at all. That makes you an idiot. Also, why should I? You have no power here and you never will. The fact that you think you do just displays your idiocy for everyone. Besides, I already gave you the requirements for my departure. Or are you incapable of reading as well, my little maggot? Everything Dave has been saying thus far sounds like the Rick and Morty copy pasta from Reddit. I mean, I think Dave is in the right here because Aramaro's a huge fucking asshole, but man, he's really going about all of it in a terrible way. A month goes by. Is he finally gone? Yeah, he is gone. Is he gone if your dumbass would just quit replying? I didn't even read shit you said. I told you that I would only leave if you either apologized for being rude, or if you went 10 comments without swearing. You're not good at remembering things, are you, my little maggot? Hello, little maggot. Just letting you know that I am still in this comment chain, just in case you thought you were rid of me or that you actually won this argument. Okay, bye now. This was after a month of him not replying, so Dave just really wants to continue this, and nothing makes me more uncomfortable than reading Dave keep calling someone my little maggot. Like, this must be how it feels for some girls when they hear the word moist. Every time I read him saying my little maggot, I just get like tingly and uncomfortable and break out into like a little profuse sweat. It's just yucky. I feel like I'm reading some old woman's fanfic where she's describing some weird sexual intercourse she had at a biker bar or something, and it's just making me uncomfortable. I don't know why he keeps calling this guy my little maggot. I don't give a fuck where you are, dumb bitch. Just like no one cares about you, my little maggot. This will be the last time you see Dave with this kind of confidence because he's about to meet the actual muscle here. Mr. Hater. If Aramaru was a supervillain, then Mr. Hater is a fucking turbo villain. He's a galactic villain, a universal threat, a divine being of villainy. I don't even know what to call him, a fucking raid boss of villainy. Because he comes in here and just starts slapping shit around. He's a big asshole as well, of course. But he brings Dave to his knees here. This is like when you're reading a comic book and the hero's in trouble. So Mr. Hater comes in here with a full chub, full erection, red alert. He calls out Dave in front of the entire classroom. I see you have a superiority complex and are very self-centered. How very hypocritical. You're no better than him. Guess I gotta clean house and deal with little keyboard warriors like you myself. That is honestly like some Marvel's Thanos shit right there. Dave is still riding the high after he seemingly defeated Aramaru, so he replies to Mr. Hater with a large amount of confidence and a bit of arrogance, saying, Heh, you poor naive fool. When did I ever claim that I was better than little maggot? That I'm better than you? Oh, to live in your little fantasy. Can you not see what I am doing? Or are you just as blind as he is? Of course, I can tell you're cut from the same cloth as my little maggot, so I'll humor your attempts at insulting me and everyone else present. Let's see how long you last. Dave's still under the impression that he's the king of this Thunderdome, but what he hasn't realized yet is Mr. Hater's not locked in here with Dave. Dave is locked in here with Mr. Hater. Oh, I know your intentions very well, and I intend to stop it. I mean, what the hell is wrong with you? Just look at your comment, you poor naive fool, to live in your little fantasy. These are things that a narcissistic, self-centered man-child would say. How am I or anyone with half a brain cell supposed to take you seriously? There's a reason the other guy left. You won't last long, Dave. You won't last long because underneath all that bravado, you're just a sad little boy with delusions of grandeur, who, by the way, can't talk for shit. So here's a piece of friendly advice. Turn away now and stop wasting Aramaru's time, because if you don't, by the time this is over, you'll be my little maggot. No response. Guess I must have hit one of your soft spots, Winky. So you actually have some bite, do you? Good. Let's see what you've got. I will compliment you on your use of insults, as well as how you get straight to the point. Dave is immediately showing that Mr. Hater has hurt him. You can't do that, Dave. You can never show weakness to a man like Mr. Hater. He can smell blood in the water. He can smell cum in a bathtub. He will pounce, and you can't let him find any amount of scrapes on your armor. Dave, he showed a weakness, and Mr. Hater exploited it, unfortunately. Heh. Of course you didn't realize. I wasn't talking about Lunar. I was talking about you and me. We don't care what others think of our opinion. We just say whether we agree or disagree with someone's opinion. In that way, we are alike, you and I. Don't you agree? I love this exchange here. This is like the season finale here when the two characters are monologuing at each other before they start beating each other with like a stick or something. Ah, I see you're trying to get on my good side. As you know what they say, if you can't beat them, join them. How about this, Dave? Write a full paragraph apologizing to Aramaru, and I might consider agreeing with you. And, by the way, it has to be real nice, so no calling him my little maggot. Otherwise, I might just start calling you that myself. That would require me to have a single shred of respect towards little maggot, and in case you did not read the whole conversation, I did apologize to him. He threw it back in my face and used it to insult me without responding to it whatsoever. You, on the other hand, are actually participating in a discussion, while my little maggot only responds with the same insults like he's a broken fax machine. You, I respect, little wasp. I forgot to click read more for the screenshot, but it said, I do not respect little maggot. So now Dave, for some reason, is calling Mr. Hater Little Wasp. I don't understand where he's getting this from. Maybe like from old 60s movies or something where it was cool. And then he references a fax machine which hasn't been in use for the last 30 years. So I just don't know what's really going on here. Maybe Dave is caught in a time vortex and he's communicating with us from the past. And he's only able to communicate through the comment section of Paper Mario Final Boss Song. But yeah, just really fucking love this part here. This feels like the climax of the entire argument. Dave going with the whole, we're not so different, you and I. We're one of the same. It's like some shit you'd see in Naruto Sasuke right before their final fight. It's fucking wonderful. You make a fair point. I shall apologize to him, but do not expect a paragraph. You make sound arguments, Mr. Wasp. I'm not one to call someone by childish names, but you are very hypocritical after all, so I expect nothing less. Anyway, do go ahead. Where's the apology? I don't see it. Mr. Hater's trying to rush this. It hasn't even been a full day at this point. Mr. Hater, he wants that apology ASAP. So now you can see Mr. Hater has assumed control of this entire argument. The entire tone has shifted here, and now Dave is at the mercy of Mr. Hater, and he wants his homework. Do not rush me. It's been 2 days now, so no excuses. You aren't going to apologize, are you? I figured as much. If you wish to continue arguing, then be my guest, kid. Dave is starting to panic a little bit. He doesn't want to write this apology because he does not respect Aramaru, but he is afraid of Mr. Hater, so he's caught in between a rock and a hard place here, and he's treading water in the comment section. 1, I have a life at the moment. 2, you need a little bit of patience. 1 word. College. You don't go to college, David. And you clearly set your expectations of me far too low. A shame, really. I thought you would be smart enough to not do what little maggot did. Stop lying to yourself, David. How about you tell me what's actually going on? College, as I said before. Do you not listen, or are you refusing to believe that I have a life outside of this? Now, if you excuse me, I have a music class to attend. I really don't understand why Dave even feels compelled to keep answering at this point. He doesn't want to write the apology. He shouldn't write an apology, honestly. He just doesn't have to reply to Mr. Hater. He can just wash his hands of this whole thing and still come out as the victor. But for some reason, he keeps engaging with Mr. Hater in here, and Mr. Hater's pressure is somehow like leaking into Dave's real world, it seems, because it feels like he's stressing about this apology, which he shouldn't write in the first place. Mr. Hater goes in on Dave, starts poking holes into his claims about college because 4 months ago it was still coronavirus shutdown, so classes weren't going on, so Dave feels the need to defend himself again. And then he kind of just explains he just doesn't want to fucking apologize, which he shouldn't. I'm glad he doesn't. Dave says, 1, truthfully, I don't want to apologize to Armu because I know for a fact it would not be genuine, and no matter how much I hate a person, I'm not going to insult them by giving them a mocking, half-assed apology. And 2, online classes are a thing that exists, and I'm not doing just a music class. Who is the antagonistic one here? Because it definitely isn't me. You poor, pathetic whelp, barking and baying like anything you say will ever matter. No, your words don't hurt me because they are artificial, fake, designed, and spoken for the sole purpose of inflicting pain without putting actual feeling behind it. Ha, 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 ha. No, your words are hollow and do not deserve the electrons my brain cells would have to burn to process them, just like you. You're not special, you're not unique, you're not important, and you never will be, not now, not ever. So go ahead whelping, keep making a fool of yourself. I'll just watch the show, laughing all the while. And in your ivory tower of hypocrisy, did you ever once realize I never denied what you have been saying? You are a parasite, Mr. Hater, something that must tear everyone down to justify their worthless existence. Perhaps I am one too, but that's where our similarities end. You lash out at anyone you see as below you. I lash out at people who at people who do what you and Armu did. Insult and tear into someone because they dared to have an opinion you did not agree with, or lash out at people who defend themselves from other people like you. I never said I was better. But does it really matter in the end? At the end of the day, one of us looks like the bad guy to everyone else, and since I haven't been antagonizing everyone participating in this, it most definitely not me who's the bad guy. Try to say I'm wrong here. You're not wrong, Dave. Not at all. And people like Aramaru and Mr. Hater, yeah, they suck a lot of fat ass. It's sad that someone cares this much about someone's opinion on something that doesn't matter. 100%. Agree with you entirely there, Dave. But the way you're handling all this and then putting this huge, presidential speech here is not good either. This is the wrong way of handling any of this. And there's really just no point in arguing in a YouTube comment section to begin with. There are no winners here. Mr. Hater breaks down his response line by line. You lash out at anyone you see is below you. Dave, don't be ridiculous. I'm not as narcissistic as you, or at all for that matter. I lash out at anyone who do what you and Armu did. A mistake you will regret, as you have started all of this, and I aim to end it. The two go back and forth about the apology that Dave doesn't want to write. Mr. Hater just keeps picking apart each line of everything he says. My words are said solely to get you to leave. That's never going to happen, Dave. I've grown very persistent over the years, and trust me, persistence pays, and I will stay here for months if I had to. Will you? Yeah, big guy, I'm sure your persistence pays. Living in a fucking comment chain for months. How productive and incredible. There are just some people who live their life to argue online, and it's sad as shit. This guy is the perfect example. Willingly saying, I will stay in this fucking thread for months because I have nothing else going on in my life. That is pathetic. That's fucking sad, Mr. Hater. Apology seems unlikely. Then you will perish here eventually with me, as it's either you apologize to Aramaru now and we'll be on our way, or we're going to be staying here for a long, long time. So, with that being said, let's just start all over on a positive note. We aren't going to start all over on a more positive note until you start apologizing, Dave. Are you going to apologize for your own hostility? Short answer, no. Unlike you, I did nothing wrong, Dave. So it's either you apologize to Aramaru and behave, or you slowly perish with me for months. Either way, I consider it a win-win. And this is where the story stops. I mean, it goes on a little bit further, but nothing is more pathetic than this mic drop from Mr. Hater. These are the people you argue with online, people that have actually nothing better to do. He considers it a win-win if someone is perishing, wasting their time in a comment section with him. That's so fucking sad. He considers it successful if he wastes somebody else's time and wastes his own time because he's already miserable in the first place. Oh, actually, I almost forgot. 3 months after all of this went down, as the dust was starting to settle, Mr. Hater and Dave just stopped communicating with each other, and there was just momentary bliss as everyone read through the thread. And then Yoshi comments, tagging Aramaru, and Aramaru's been tagged this entire time. Yoshi just points out it's been 10 months, but 64 really good, kind of basic, Thousand Year Door, bop, and all this. Just kind of breaks down his opinion of the music. And then Aramaru, from out of fucking nowhere, comes out of retirement to deliver one of the most powerful conclusions to any story ever given. I don't give a fuck about your opinion, this song is still shit. What a beautiful way of wrapping all of this up. But yeah, anyway, the last interaction between our main characters was 4 months ago. From what I checked today, there wasn't any new developments that I noticed. A few more people have been made aware of this because it was posted on Twitter. That's how I found it. And this has just been truly a joy. Delightful to read through. So just keep all this in mind next time you think you're confident enough to leave an opinion on a Paper Mario song. That's about it. So yeah. Alright, let's get it. Oh, shit. Oh, boy. I didn't think I was that high up. Alright, reset.
You are dying. You do not know how to save yourself.
Not true. Not dying. Becoming Johnny Silverhand. Keanu Reeves. I'm evolving. Whoa, hey, what the fuck? Where did she come from?
So finish your tea and get the fuck out.
Wow, you just got blasted, Takamura. Holy shit. Ow, wow. That was rough to watch, my friend. I've been holding B. It's Toad? Well, how the fuck do I get it back? Who towed my car? You died, your car got repossessed.
Hey, watch it.
Why did they fall over? What is going on? Jesus, they're killing themselves on my bike. Is he dead? What do you mean attack? You guys attacked my bike. Yeah, that's like some insurance fraud shit. Damn, this guy's looking mean right now with those shades. Alright, what the fuck?
What's up, you guys? It's Graham here. So historically, they say that on average, September is the worst month for the stock market, dating all the way back to 1950. Now, whether or not that comes true for this month is yet to be seen. But I have to say, there's certainly a lot happening in the markets right now, all at the exact same time, that could have a pretty immediate impact in your wallet. And by wallet, I obviously mean your money. Like, just in the last week, there's talks about interest rates being increased by the end of the year. Several members of Congress are now pushing to fire the Federal Reserve. Robinhood could potentially get banned for the practice of payment for order flow. Social Security income is running out much sooner than expected. And for anyone who's wondering if money could buy happiness, a recent study confirmed that yes, it does buy happiness, but it costs a lot more money than you would expect. Anyway, let's talk about exactly what's going on in the markets, the impact this could have on pretty much everything, and then finally what you could do with this information to make money. Although before we start, I'll make you guys a deal. If this video could get 69,420 likes in the first week, I'll invest $10,000 into the top stock commented on this video, and then I'll report back to see how it does in 6 months. So if you think that sounds like an awful idea that you would want to see, just make sure to hit the like button and let me know. And also, big thank you to Noom for sponsoring this video, but more on that later. Alright, so let's talk about one of the most controversial topics first, that pretty much affects nearly everybody throughout the entire stock market, and that would be Robinhood. Now, much of this began a few years ago when people began to wonder, how does a free stock trading app like Robinhood actually make their money? Well, on their website, they lay it all out in the open. They earn money from interchange fees within the cash management account, interest from keeping your money on the platform, loaning out your stocks to counterparties, charging $5 a month for a premium service, and then, well, wait a second, what's this? Rebates from market makers and trading venues? Oh my. Yeah, you gotta hear this one out, because here's where things get really interesting. This is the concept known as payment for order flow that pretty much encompasses everything throughout the entire stock market in one way or another, and most likely you've paid into it whether you realize it or not. Now, for everybody confused, here's how it works. When you place a stock trade on Robinhood, Robinhood is not the one who actually goes and executes that trade. Instead, they instantly outsource that to another company who pays Robinhood for the right to execute your trade on their behalf. Why, you might ask? Well, a lot of that has to do with what's called high-frequency trading. See, as we all know, the stock market constantly fluctuates in price, and every single rapid price movement is an opportunity to profit within fractions of a second. As an example, if you place a trade to buy a share of Subscribe for $100, by the time your order actually gets sent to the exchange and filled, the stock price could have fallen to $99, and in that case, you could be paying $100 for a stock that's actually worth $99 by the time you receive it. And that, of course, is where high-frequency traders come in. These are essentially market makers with a lightning-fast connection to exchanges, and their goal is to help facilitate these transactions as fast as possible while making a little bit of profit along the way. In this case, if you submit a $100 buy order and the price of the stock suddenly drops to $99, the high-frequency traders could theoretically see it coming, buy the $99 stock, and then instantly sell it back to you for $100, making a lightning-fast profit in a split second. Now, usually this is an amount that's almost never going to get noticed by you. In fact, Bloomberg estimated that the profit amounted to be an average of only 0.0024 cents a share. Although here's where some of the controversy begins. In 2005, the SEC passed the Regulation National Market System, which required brokers to obtain the best execution for their clients. That means when you place an order, the brokerage has to route it to the market maker, exchange, or high-frequency trader who could give you the best price as the customer. If that means going through a high-frequency trader who's willing to do it for 0.00001 cents, great. If it's going through the exchange at a price point lower than that, fine. If it's going to the market maker first, perfect. It honestly doesn't matter how your order is filled or how that brokerage is compensated, as long as you get the best price as a customer at any given time. But that's, of course, where things begin falling apart. In 2019, Robinhood was fined for sending customer trading orders to 4 broker-dealers without guaranteeing the best price. Those broker-dealers paid Robinhood for executing the trades with them, and by doing so, Robinhood violated the best execution requirement. Now, besides that, in all fairness to Robinhood, nearly every single stock trading brokerage out there participates in payment for order flow, including Ally Financial, Webull, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade. And it's a common practice that isn't necessarily a bad thing at all, if they could objectively route your order flow with your best interest in mind. It's really no different than somebody getting paid a commission for recommending you car insurance if that company they recommended actually winds up giving you the best price. In that case, it's a win-win for everybody. But the discrepancy comes when they're not giving you the best price and they're getting paid for it, which is bad. That's a no-no. Well, that now leads us to what just happened and the potential that this might get banned in the US. The SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, signaled that he would be open to banning the practice of payment for order flow, which would directly impact nearly every single stock market brokerage out there and ultimately the price that you pay anytime you buy or sell a stock. Now, brokerages argue that investors actually benefit from having their orders routed through high-frequency traders because they could typically get better prices on their trades than going through a traditional market maker, which profits from the spread between the bid and the ask. And by getting paid for order flow, they could otherwise offer you free trading. It would be no different than saying, if we route your order to an exchange, it'll cost you 1 cent. But this company over here, who happens to pay us a commission, says that they could do it for half a cent. So in this case, we get paid and you get a better price, so everybody wins. But the SEC says this could potentially be a conflict of interest because the company is getting paid to put your best interest first, and it's anyone's guess if that actually happens. Not to mention, other countries like the UK, Canada, and Australia have already banned the practice of payment for order flow. And the free stock trading app Public.com recently came out by saying they were discontinuing all payment for order flow after the whole GameStop fiasco. So now there's certainly no conflict of interest if you want to buy or sell a stock on the platform. As far as my own objective thoughts here, I personally do not have a problem with payment for order flow as long as there's transparency to know that your orders are routed to the best place possible. If the brokerages happen to make money in the process, that's fine with me because after all, they are running a business. But the problem begins if and when they ever violate that best execution practice. And to make sure that never happens, we might need more transparency in terms of how those orders are processed. Because as the overall perception of this changes, brokerages will have to adapt. But speaking of adapting, you know what's not adapting? Social Security. Because all the money that we were expected to receive when we get older could soon be running out, and that's a huge problem. Or basically, listen to what's going on because this impacts pretty much all of us in terms of our future finances. Well, really quick, before we go into that, a few of you have noticed that I've been trying to get back into shape, and with that, I want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Noom. They're a digital health platform that helps empower you to focus on building healthy routines and habits, since there's so much more to being healthy than just losing weight and dieting. They start by taking a quick assessment of your goals and current profile, and then they create a tailored plan just for you based on long-term healthy habits and behavioral changes, not restrictive dieting. From there, they connect you with a coach who's trained in psychology, fitness, and nutrition to help guide you as you go. I personally love their library of recipes, completely designed around my ideal budget and goals for losing a little bit of weight around my stomach. They also keep me accountable every single day with daily reminders to keep up the momentum. So if you're like me and you want to build healthy habits and take control of your health, you can get a free Noom evaluation and 7-day trial when you use my link at Noom.com/Graham. Again, you could use my link down below in the description to get a free Noom evaluation and 7-day trial. So enjoy, and with that said, let's get back to the video. Alright, now in terms of Social Security literally running out, here's what you need to know. Here in the United States, we have a problem called Social Security that everyone begins paying into as soon as they begin working. Did I say problem? I meant program. This is a 12.4% tax on earned income up to $142,000 a year, split equally between you and your employer, that goes into a big fund to Social Security that eventually goes back to you when you're older. The thinking is that by mandating this as a tax, it should theoretically pay some or all of your expenses in retirement or in the event of a disability. But there's a problem in that the current system is paying out a lot more money than it's taking in. As a result, at the current rate, Social Security will run out of funds to pay the full benefit by 2034. After that, it's said that Social Security will only be able to pay 78% in promised benefits to retirees and disabled beneficiaries. That means by the time most of us are older, if nothing changes, we're likely to receive only a fraction of the benefits that we paid in, because the system relies on future workers to pay off the costs of those before us. And right now, there's just not enough money. Kind of like a Ponzi scheme, except, well, It's similar to a Ponzi scheme, but it's not a Ponzi scheme. I say that jokingly because technically it's an investment in our elderly to make sure they have a sustained benefit throughout retirement, or if someone becomes disabled, they at least have something else to fall back on. While the US does not make any profit from this at all, but it sounds kind of like a Ponzi scheme. Anyway, as it stands right now, there's really only 3 possible outcomes as this runs out. 1, Congress could raise Social Security taxes to keep it funded a little bit longer. But this presents a problem of long-term sustainability, because as people live longer, more money is going to have to go into the system, and because of that, taxes will continually have to go higher. The 2 benefits could just be reduced, but that wouldn't be fair for everyone else who's paid into it and now getting less than what they were promised. Or 3, the government could just go into further
rent-free. I'm paying for everything, and she and I would be quote-unquote friends with benefits. Yeah. But never once did I look for anything like that or come to her on that basis. She came to me directly, and I'm paying for everything. And so for recently, I found out that she's cheating on me with a close friend of mine and stuff like that. So
that's tough.
We have now been at like an impasse because she's staying rent free. She doesn't have to pay you anything. She knows you're my landlord. She knows everything. She knows I'm paying the price I'm paying, $825 and 1.1K. And she quote unquote has a makeup job by a company that she won't tell me anything about. And she won't tell me when she gets paid by the company. She says monthly she gets paid. But I've never heard of a makeup company that pays monthly. And she won't tell me the seminar that she's at, that she's in a training seminar right now, overnight, on Sunday, even though she already has the job. It doesn't really add up, you know what I mean? Yeah. And she basically is trying to threaten me, say she's gonna call the cops to the property. I'm like, number one, technically you don't like legally you can't legally do anything. You're not even like under any type of paper or anything saying that you legally stay here or live here or paying for anything. No, like I'm paying. She's just living here for free with me. You're technically just sleeping over at that point. You're not even like legally anything. So it's like, and she thinks she's like being held hostage. Like, no, you're not held hostage. You can leave whenever you want. Like. And she clearly leaves whenever she wants. So it's like she's trying to make up all these things and say like, oh well, okay, well I'm gonna call the cops in. I'm like, okay, there's nothing more between us. We have messages of us being mutually beneficial, two adults with a mutual agreement that we both know what that agreement is. So it's like she can stay with me, but doesn't have to pay anything, rent free. I've never heard of that, and she's basically allowed to cheat on me at the same time. So that's where we kind of have problems because like I knew dealing with these type of women, she would eventually be unloyal because that kind of woman is not really that loyal. But like when I first met Alexis, I thought she would have been like a different type of girl because what she was saying, and she was the loyal type and then like not the type to cheat on anything. So that's where we're like we're at. I'm not really sure if the cops will come. She said she's not going to call the cops, but still, it's the fact that you threaten to call the cops on a property that you're not paying rent for, and that you pay technically you're just sleeping over at, and she wants to call the cops and stuff like that. But I just wanted to call you and let you know because before she tells you false information, I have proof for the receipts, not just what I'm saying, so you just don't think it's all bullshit. She is nothing more to me than that.
Right.
I should let you know sooner. That was my end. That was my fault. But yeah.
No, you're good, cuz you sound a little nervous, bro. I just kind
I'm
of
a little nervous. It's just that she is also my sister is on the way right now with some of my stuff.
Okay.
I'm not nervous. It's just that she's making me like mad, and the fact that she really just is like on the phone telling me all this shit, and she won't even answer my basic questions. I have her like caught in hella lies and stuff, so that's why I'm kind of mad.
Well, yeah. Now she's threatening you in a way.
No, she's threatening me.
It's blackmailing
young
too.
black men and stuff.
She's blackmailing you too, so it's like in a
Yeah,
way.
she's blackmailing me too, and trying to hold like these things over me. I'm like, can't hold anything over me. But
Yeah. And the thing about it is that it's on the lease. You know, she's not on there, so
yeah,
it's
she's
just
not
you.
on.
And the thing about you have to understand about females is that they're always gonna fucking make up shit. They're always gonna be doing like, oh,
Yeah.
they're gonna make up some stupid ass threat. So
Yeah.
here's my tip. Like,
And you were right about that, like not trying to be in a relationship. Like,
yeah,
you were so right about it. I should listen to you on that.
if you, this happens all the time, bro. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
if you're gonna have, even though this is weird, if you're gonna have sex with her or anything of that sort, make sure you get like a recording of the agreement. Like, make sure she doesn't notice it, but get any future female, right? Get a recording of the, oh yes, let's have sex, right? Because I'm telling you, in the future, bro, she might pull some like, oh, he raped me or some shit, right? Or
Yeah,
like,
that's also a problem.
yeah. So once you get that agreement, bro, yeah, nothing's gonna happen. This is why like I record. Sometimes I record like crucial conversations. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even though it's illegal, but it's illegal to um record but it's saving your ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So at the same time, it's like legal, but it's saving at the same time.
Yeah. So that's for the future, and for the cheating part, I was talking to my so the people that came today, they're the ones who adopted me. So you could say they were my parents, but they were good friends of my parents, so they adopted me. Yeah, I took it.
They were adopted.
Yeah, but it was like when I was 16 though. So
Oh, okay. But they didn't raise you. They just adopted.
yeah, but they're really nice people. They're really great.
Yeah.
So I guess my adopted dad, he was telling me like, yeah, I think your renter's getting cheated on, right? I'm like, how do you know? He's like,
You think so? Get a judo.
yeah. He's like, what do you think? He's like, because I don't know. I just get that vibe. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, eh. And then we saw a black truck pull up, right? And we're like, that might be a relative. But my dad's like, I don't think so, bro. I don't think so.
A black truck pulled up.
Yeah. So we were like, I think that's
wait.
because
did the black truck have like Dallas Cowboy thing on it?
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
Oh snap!
What's that?
Well, she said that her ex-fiance had like Dallas thing going on. I think one time.
Don't worry about it, bro. If anything happens, bro.
Yeah.
I got my lawyers. I got all my shit. Just for the future, for future sakes, like to not have that problem in a way. Like, don't make an agreement where like, oh, you can live with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I won't make that agreement. That's so stupid. Like, if I have an actual girlfriend, it'll be my actual.
Yeah, I know you're 19, right? You're trying to.
Yeah, I'm 19.
Yeah, so like you're still growing, so I do expect that.
I'm still growing.
Yeah, you're all good though, bro. I mean, you're an adult. You know what I mean? You're living by yourself now. You don't have your parents with you, so.
Yeah.
I would just say like, don't like if she comes on a property, that's trespassing. You know, you can call the cops on that. All right. So if the cops come, just call me. All right.
I got you.
And I'll be there if I have to. If they ask where I'm at,
thank you.
If they ask where I'm at, just tell them that he's outside working.
Alright, I got you.
Okay.
Alright, thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll let you know any updates.
Okay. Just text me, alright?
Alright.
Nah, sana salite ama gorta kızı. Meyta. Okay, ama kalkıtısı, ama küçük kutusu. Abu Zanato. You know that guy? The roommate? That chick? She's cheating on him, right? And then, what? She's cheating on him, right? He told me, he's like telling me, like, oh man, this girl's cheating on me. I'm like, hey, bro. I don't know what to. এবার মেয়ে তো বলছে আমি পুলিশ কল করবো ও বলতেছে কি রে কি ও আমাকে বলতেছে যে, আমি ও আমাকে বলছে মেয়েদের দিলা কেন পুলিশ কল করলে কি হবে যে হুম। তুমি করো না তুমি করো না হ্যাঁ এনে ওরা আমি ও আমাকে বলছে যে ও ও বলতেছে ও ওকে বলছে যে তুমি আমার সাথে থাকতে পারবে হ্যাঁ গালা থেকে বলতেছে হ্যাঁ খানসার কি বলছে জানো ও থাকতে পারে যায় আর কেউ থাকতে পারে না লিসেরি হ্যাঁ এবার মেয়েটা বলতেছে না আমি এখানে থাকতে পারি ওকে বলতেছে যে হ্যাঁ এবার এখন ও বলতেছে যে ও মেয়েটারা কিরকম তুমি বুঝো না ওরা বলে যে ও আমি পুলিশ কল করবো আমি এটা করবো হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ আমি ওকে বলতেছি মেয়েটারা এরকম যে ও মনে হয় করবো না হ্যাঁ করলে বলবো যে কিচ্ছু এটা ও এখানে থাকে না হ্যাঁ বলতেছে ও এখানে থাকে না হ্যাঁ এবার ও ঘরে আসলে বলছে এটা trespassing trespassing বুঝো বুঝো trespassing বুঝো না আর তো মানুষ আমার ঘরে আসতে পারে না তো হ্যাঁ 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 আমি ওকে পুলিশ কল করতে পারবো হ্যাঁ জানি না What, Ernie? He just called me. He's like, oh my god, man, I don't know what to do. I'm like, bro, calm down. Hey, he's like, I'm like, bro, he's my age, but I guess I told him I was 30. Because if I told him I was the same age as him, I don't know. I don't know. Huh. I know that. I know who's. I'm gonna say tomorrow to make you grow. I know that. আস্তে করে চলে যান। দোয়া লাগবো না তো, করো তো ফারস্ত দিয়েছিলাম। একটা আপা every 6 months. একটা আপা every 6 months. 6 months. No, 6 months. Oh my god. Gile. Yeah. Okay.
Debt to fund the deficit and then just let inflation eat away at the balance. I mean, at this point, what's another $1 trillion? So I'm going to venture to say that the only real solution to this is to raise Social Security taxes and kick the problem a little bit further down the road until it's somebody else's problem. I can't ever imagine these benefits being reduced because that would put financial strain on so many people, especially the disabled who can't care for themselves financially. That's why I think for everyone watching, just assume two things. Expect that taxes are going to be going up over the next 5 years because chances are they will, and expect that you're going to receive nothing from Social Security by the time you're older. That way, if you end up getting something, it's just a bonus, but it'll never be something to rely on just in case something happens. Like the Federal Reserve getting fired and raising interest rates. During a recent meeting, the Federal Reserve announced that they might begin to reduce their asset purchases by the end of the year as they begin to taper and let the economy run on its own. However, they've made it clear that they won't begin to explicitly raise interest rates until more progress has been made, although this would begin to set the expectation that it could be coming soon. For instance, Korea became the first bank to raise interest rates from 0.5% to 0.75%, which was the first rate hike in 3 years. And that was aimed at curbing inflation, a red-hot real estate market, and high levels of household debt. And that sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Well, for us in the United States, interest rates affect the value of pretty much everything that we do. If interest rates remain too low for too long, then inflation could be higher than expected. Asset prices could go through the roof. And the price of everyday items could get more and more expensive as more and more money enters the economy. But if they raise interest rates too fast, then asset prices could drop. People could spend less money, and that could hurt the economy. So this becomes a delicate balance to make sure our economy runs as smoothly as possible and the value of the dollar remains intact without everything going to shit. Although some people disagree, and in a recent move, it was called for Jerome Powell to be fired and replaced as a way to reimagine a Federal Reserve focused on eliminating climate risk and advancing racial and economic justice. Part of this criticism blamed the Fed for weakening financial regulations enacted after the Great Recession, including capital and liquidity requirements, stress tests, and the Volcker Rule, by essentially allowing too much leverage to enter the markets without holding enough cash in reserves. Now, without taking sides objectively, the Federal Reserve's job is not to promote anything other than maintain monetary policy, financial stability, and providing banking services. And as much as I would like to see improvement for everyone and our environment, the Federal Reserve does not have the authority to prioritize those practices. So in this sense, as much as I support the economic well-being of everyone and our environment, it's highly unlikely the Federal Reserve would have any direct impact on that, at least without a substantial change from Congress. Plus, this is all happening during a month that's said to be the worst month in history for the stock market, otherwise known as the September effect. That's because, according to Investopedia, since 1950, the Dow Jones has dropped an average of 0.8% in September, and the S&P 500 drops an average of 0.5%. In fact, MoneyChimp has a stock market calculator that averages the returns for for each calendar month in history, and as you can see, September is indeed statistically the worst on record. Now, some say that this could be attributed to a behavioral change as investors sell their stocks and otherwise cash in towards the end of the year. Others say that because mutual funds have a fiscal year that ends in September, many of them would sell their losing positions for tax loss harvesting, thereby putting downward pressure on the market. And some point to lower trading volumes throughout the summer as investors take time off, go on vacation, and then sell their positions afterwards when they get back. Now, it's important to mention that because these are just averages, it doesn't always mean the market is going to drop every single September. In fact, 45% of the time, the market goes up in September. But it does paint to a somewhat negative picture that overall for investors, September tends to not be the best month. And lastly, speaking of all this money talk, remember that study that said that happiness plateaus at around $75,000 a year? Well, yeah, about that. A recent study found that happiness actually does not plateau. And in fact, you do get happier the more money you make. This study here analyzed a person's life satisfaction and well-being along with how much money they earned throughout a wide variety of incomes and people, all the way up to $100 million. And what they found was actually quite interesting. Even though $75,000 provides the greatest bang for the buck in terms of life satisfaction and well-being, both factors increase as you make more money, albeit to a slower degree. For example, going from $25,000 to $75,000 a year gives you the same life satisfaction boost as going from $75,000 to $225,000 a year. And it would appear as though this metric continues throughout every single income threshold. Although as you get into the larger numbers, it takes significantly more money to get that same boost. Why does this matter? Well, it goes to show you that everything is in proportion to your own perspective. The important part here is that we spend our money wisely, we stay true to ourselves, we enjoy what we do, and at the end of the day, even though more money could open up more possibilities, at a certain point we just have to take matters into our own hands and smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Oh, and one more thing, Cathie Wood just recently filed for a brand new no-vice transparency ETF which shuns oil, gas, alcohol, bank, and gambling stocks, or basically all the fun stuff. This ARK fund would mimic the Transparency Index, which tracks stock movements for around 100 companies, including the reputation and adoption of transparency standards. Now, in my opinion, this is not necessarily a bad thing, and from what I've noticed amongst my fellow millennials, most of us are going for healthier options, drinking less or nothing, and putting some emphasis on sustainability. But it also seems like she's leaning into the millennial habits to try to appeal to people who want to socially invest. And if she wants to cater a group around every interest, I have no doubt there are going to be people who are very excited for this. Now, long term, who knows if these companies are going to be as profitable as the ones who use oil, bank with the biggest banks, drink lots of alcohol, and then gamble it all away on the meme. But for investors who want a new option, I say why not, because the more the merrier. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to destroy the like button, subscribe button, and notification bell. Also, feel free to add me on Instagram. I post pretty much daily, so if you want to be a part of it there, feel free to add me there as my second channel, The Graham Stephan Show. I post there every single day. I'm not posting here, so if you want to see a brand new video from me every single day, make sure to add yourself to that. And lastly, if you want a completely free stock that's now worth all the way up to $1,000, use the link down below in the description and use the code GRAHAM when you sign up for public. Plus, I'm posting all of my stock trades on there, so if you want to be a part of it, the link is down below. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.
Raoul Pal, welcome to the show, man. I am super excited to talk to you.
I'm really excited to be here. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think.
All right, so for people that don't know who you are, you're a globally recognized macro investor, master investor as well, co-founder of Real Vision. But if you don't mind just walking people through a quick synopsis, and for anybody that isn't used to me talking about finance and cryptocurrency, I am just on a mission to get people to understand what I think is happening now, which is, I've heard you use these words, and you are a far better person to listen to than me, but that there's a massive wealth transfer happening right now that gives people who have traditionally been disenfranchised a chance to get in. So everybody, even though you know, this is sort of beyond the scope of my traditional mindset conversations, I think it's one of the most important conversations to be had right now. So with that, Raoul, if you don't mind giving us the background, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a background about me and why I got into crypto as well, as that's kind of where we're going with this conversation. So my background was I'm 31 or 2 years financial markets. So I grew up in that world. I grew up in the world of what is known as macro investing. Macro investing is when you look at all the asset classes everywhere around the world. So bonds, equities, commodities, currencies, credit, all of these things, and you try and look for what is the best return you can get. Maybe that's in India, maybe it's in China, maybe it's in the US. So that's the mindset. We have this 3D ever-evolving jigsaw puzzle in our heads of the world, driven by the global economy, hence why it's called macro, because it's macroeconomics. So it's driven by the business cycle trends of the global economy. So I did that. I was on the sales side for many years. I ended up at Goldman Sachs, where I started and ran the hedge fund sales business in equities and equity derivatives. My whole career basically had been getting to know the world's most famous hedge fund managers from kind of 1990 to 2000. It was like being taught acting by Robert De Niro or, Laurence Olivier. I mean, it's ridiculous. My daily calls would be Stan Druckenmiller, Paul Tudor Jones, the guys at Soros, etc., etc., etc. So that was it. Plenty of crises and exciting stuff happened over that period, very macro. Then I decided to make the switch in 2000. I saw the recession was coming and I wanted to invest and make money from it. So I moved to one of my biggest clients, which was the biggest hedge fund firm in Europe at the time called GLG Partners. And I started and ran the global macro hedge fund there. So that was now me taking these bets on a global basis over that kind of very rocky period of 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003 into 2004. Then I decided I had enough and I moved to the Mediterranean coast of Spain and started writing macroeconomic research. I'd been around the hedge fund business longer than most people at that point, and I had a huge amount of experience, both in knowing all of the players and also being a player myself. So I started writing from that perspective macroeconomic research called The Global Macro Investor, which I still write 17 years later. And that's read by most of the world's most famous hedge fund managers, sovereign wealth funds, asset managers, that kind of stuff. A really privileged position. And it's that privileged position that got to me where I am today, why I started Real Vision and why crypto, because they're all part of the same thing. So there I am, 2007, and I'm thinking the world is about to fall apart, and I'm writing about it. And, I'm one of the people that was, on the right side of that. And a lot of the people in the film, The Big Short, were clients of mine, and we all kind of knew what was going on. The world falls apart, tons of people make tons of money out of it, tons of people lose their entire livelihoods. This is not good. And it's not. And so I started asking the question because people come up to me in the street and say, why didn't we know? And I'm thinking, why did I know? Well, fine. I've got a lot of experience and I managed to piece together the jigsaw puzzle, but why does nobody else get to know this knowledge? This was wrong. And this was the rise of Occupy Wall Street. This is the rise of the anger of we're being screwed somewhere. We don't know how we're being screwed. And I believed in that too. Then I was in Europe for 2012. We almost lost our entire banking system, plus the EU itself. I remember having to go buy a generator and dried food because I thought we were going to follow Cyprus and we were going to lose the banks. Over one weekend, we would have lost the banks on Monday. The IMF forced Spain into taking an $18 billion bailout, which rescued it in time. Then eventually we end up with this Draghi, I'll do anything that it takes to stop Europe falling apart, essentially. And that stopped the tide. But the same thing happened. I was at the epicenter of it. I knew it was coming. We all made money out of it. And everybody around me, and I was yelling to everybody, listen, you've got to be careful. Friends of mine got destroyed in that in Spain. The property market imploded. Everybody's a real estate developer. Everybody got killed. Friends went bankrupt. And they were like, why didn't we know? And at first I'm like, I have been telling you this endlessly. But because I wasn't on television at the time, they don't take you seriously. I'm like, it's bizarre. I write stuff that the world's most famous investors read, but if I'm not on television, for an average guy, I don't have credibility.
Right.
I'm like, okay. I, at that point, started having two tangents, which is realizing I need to do something about it. That this disparate information level, that one group has everything, everybody else has nothing. And the other thing is I needed to make the world safer because we're kind of screwed. Because of this over-financialization, all the debt, that we could lose the system at any point. Nothing had gone away. The printing of money was just a way of wallpapering over the cracks that the earthquake had left behind. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? So the idea I had with a bunch of people was to try and set up the world's safest bank. And I tried to go and do that. It was slightly arrogant or stupid, probably, to try to do because it's not easy. And we got together quite an amazing group of people. Still, we tried in Singapore, we tried in Switzerland, we tried in the US. It was just hard to do. The system is not there for you to try and change. And so in that process, a friend of mine, one of my clients, tapped me on the shoulder and said, you should take a look at Bitcoin. This was 2012. And I'd been aware of Bitcoin, and I took a good look at it. And he explained to me both the store of value proposition and the blockchain element, that anything could be trusted on the blockchain. I looked at this and I'm like, oh my God, this is the future that we need. Because the problem we've got is when a firm like Lehman Brothers goes bust, nobody knows who owns what. And somebody's going to get screwed in that equation. Just one of the very issues at the center of the system. Nobody knows who owns anything. So I started looking at that, and I started writing articles and invested in it first time in 2013. 2014, I started Real Vision because I wanted to democratize the very best financial information. Nobody gets access for an hour to the world's most famous hedge fund managers unless you've invested $100 million. Real Vision changed that equation entirely and said, listen, forget all this sound bites on CNBC of 3 minutes. It's worthless. We're going to give you an hour of the world's most successful investors, the best independent analysts and strategists, and then you have a level playing field. And that was a game changer. I mean, since Real Vision started in 2014, there's probably been 200 podcasts that's copied that model. So this is this movement. There's two things. There's the democratization of information, and then there's crypto. So crypto, as it starts building out as an ecosystem, you start to realize that, okay, this is now the fastest adoption of any technology in all recorded human history.
Dude, you have to say that again. This is the idea that's gotten me obsessed with crypto. Is you talk about how there's something broken, we're getting screwed, and we don't understand where. And now this new thing has come along, but it's entering the system at a moment where it's sort of peak distrust and peak sort of throwing your hands up. You're giving up. You tried occupying Wall Street. It didn't work. You
tried
don't
voting
even
in Donald Trump. You've tried voting in Joe Biden. You've tried everything, and nothing changes.
So hit people with that quote again, because this is something that, and I'll give my background for people that are hearing me talk about this stuff for the first time in a minute. But that quote about this being the fastest adopted technology, I think is important.
The internet from 1990 to 2000 grew at 63% a year. That was the fastest adoption of any technology in all recorded history. Prior to that, mobile phones was the other one. But what happens is the internet technology and the mobile phone technology allows for these networks to be built. And once that network's in place, it's faster to build the next network. So in India, for example, they've just basically given out free data to every mobile phone in India. So guess what? Data usage is the highest in the world. And so their internet scaling becomes faster. So the internet was huge, as we all know, and it remains huge. So at 63% a year, it then flattened out over time as more and more people got adopted. So at 1997, it was growing at 63% a year, and there was 140 million users of the internet. In 2021, there are 140 million crypto users, and it's growing at 113% a year. Jesus. Double the speed. Now, this is where humans struggle. Linear numbers and exponential numbers. Because it's exponential, it means that growing at 113% a year, we're going to go from 140 million people to 1 billion people by 2024. I mean, so when you go back and how you introduced all of this, so if you know that something is being adopted at this speed and it's a network of money at its core, and you can buy an infinitesimal fraction of it, so everybody can buy 10% of their net worth, then everybody who takes this opportunity will probably have the biggest opportunity in history to make money.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the episode brought to you by our sponsors at BlueBlocks. Go to blueblocks.com/Impact Theory for 15% off your order, or just use discount code Impact Theory at checkout. All right, enjoy the episode.
The other part that I want people to understand is that it's also coming at a moment where somebody like you no longer has to convince a gatekeeper to let you on TV, that you can just spin something up, because the other part of this equation is what I'll round to YouTube. So it isn't exactly YouTube, but it's that idea that you can put out this long form content that's video that allows people access to ideas and information that they never would have had before. And getting people to see that you're now moving into a new phase where you and I think, share a similar sense of like, okay, entrepreneurship was very good to me. It changed my life. It made me fantastically wealthy. And now I'm looking around going, hey, there's nothing that special about me. The thing that made me successful is I'm a relentless learner. So I'm just unafraid to embarrass myself, to fall down, to look stupid. And because of that, while other people are laughing at me, I'm laughing on the inside because I'm like, motherfucker, on a long enough timeline, I'm going to win because I'll learn and I'll figure this stuff out. So now you get a group of people like me who succeed tremendously in a system where I'm looking around watching everybody else struggle. And I'm like, I will tell you everything I know. Like, I'll just give it out as fast as I fucking can because I want to live in a world where other people can rise up. For whatever reason, I just am emotionally incentivized to also see other people succeed. And so you're now in a position where someone like you who essentially could have retired, you know, lives on this tropical, beautiful island and like does not need to be doing all this, re-engages with the world and tries to give people that information. And so you get this, go ahead.
I did a piece that was probably the most viewed piece I've ever done on YouTube. It was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 million views, called The Retirement Crisis. And it resonated because I kind of showed how people haven't seen it, check it out on YouTube. It's well worth your time. And it's a long time ago. It predicts a lot of what's going on now. And the point being is that there's a bunch of retirees, the baby boomers, and they've kind of screwed it all up because they've got all the debt. They've got too much equity exposure. It's really hard for them to retire. This is why the Federal Reserve don't like equities going down, because you've got this richest group on earth who are kind of stuck. They never got enough money to retire on. But I want to look through the eyes of the millennials. So they are 32 years old. At the same age, their parents at 32, the baby boomers, had all-time cheap valuations of equities, all-time cheap bonds, all-time cheap credit, all-time cheap property, right? So they couldn't help but make money. They kind of screwed it up because they actually ended up going into debt as well. But they couldn't help but make money. So then the millennials had the opposite. All-time record valuations of equities, all-time record valuation for bonds, all-time record credit, all-time record highs in property. So I'm like, these guys are screwed unless something else comes along. And that thing is crypto. Because the future expected return of crypto, it's been growing at 213% a year in returns. That's how much it makes, even though it's very volatile. Sometimes it's down to 70%. Over time, you're making 213% a year. It has grown as an asset. It's gone up. I think it's 2 million% since inception. No other asset in all recorded history has ever done this. And we haven't even started. I still think there's probably another 100x from here. Not even the baby boomers got given that. The S&P didn't go up 100x since 1980. So this is the magnitude of what's there. So I'm screaming from the rooftops saying, you might be cynical. You might think you don't understand it. You might think you can't afford to play in this. But you have to listen, because this is the opportunity. You can't come back to me in 10 years' time and say, well, we missed all of that. All the rich people got richer. No, you, I, everybody else is saying, now is your time. Don't be irresponsible, dollar cost average, do all the right things, but here is your opportunity. This is the biggest opportunity I've ever seen, and I'm going to take advantage of it, and so should everybody else. This is not rich or poor. This is an every person opportunity, and we've never had this before, ever.
Dude, you just gave me like sustained chills. This is not rich or poor. This is an opportunity for everybody, but you really have to move on it. So I'll tell my own story. So for anybody that is pushing back, feels late to the party, whatever, find some solace in my like willful ignorance. So I have always seen myself as good at making money and terrible at investing money. Now you have to be very careful what story you repeat about yourself to yourself. And I just kept saying that. Like I didn't want to focus on learning about money. Math doesn't come easily to me. I don't like whatever that ability is to conceptualize numbers. I don't have it. So it's like I really struggle with that stuff. And one of my employees was like, Tom, are you looking at crypto? And I'm like, David, I'm just not interested in investing. Like it doesn't speak to me at all. And he just kept coming back like, Tom, you really need to look at this. You need to look at this. And I'm like, David, how many times do I have to say it? Like, I don't find this interesting. I want to build a company and I've already made myself wealthy. I'll continue to generate wealth and help other people by building this company. I'm not going to look at it. And then I had been introduced to the idea of digital scarcity about 6 years ago. And I thought, ooh, that's going to change my business. And then, but the technology wasn't there. And so, or I should say the networks weren't there. And I promptly ignored it. And then when it popped back up at the beginning of 2021, I was like, I'm all in, because I understood what it was going to be. So I start researching NFTs, the technology behind it, and that inevitably leads you to the blockchain, of course, which then leads you to crypto, which then I was like, wait a second, what? Like, this is literally, somebody is essentially going, hey, you know, all those things that make gold like this wonderful store of value, we're now moving that onto computers. And so I've been saying for years, technology is a one-way street. I'm a total like techno optimist. There is no going backwards. Like, this only moves forward. So now it's like, wait, people are digitizing money? And then the poor David, who'd been telling me for God knows how long, 8 months, that I needed to look at it. I was like, what the hell? So I start researching hardcore about what it is. And I'm like, wow, not only do I have a fiduciary responsibility to myself and my family to learn about this, I now felt absolutely compelled to tell people one simple thing: research it. You may decide that it doesn't make sense, because I don't think I'm smart enough for people to listen to me. I do think you're smart enough for people to listen to you, and you're certainly educated. But even if they reject it, like there is this moment of, you pull back the curtain and you see the Wizard of Oz and you're like, oh my God, this is going to change everything. And it's like a dime drop on how it works. And that's when I was like, whoa, I have to move on this, and I have to tell everybody. So like you, I'm screaming from the rooftops. I just don't know how to do it as intelligently.
And what gets worse about this is this affliction, this crypto affliction we all get, right? The rabbit hole, as it's known. You start with understanding money, which most of us don't think about. Then you kind of understand how we're getting screwed by central bank printing and the debt-laden economy and what it means. And then you start saying, okay, but that's Bitcoin. And then what's this Ethereum business? And then you start realizing decentralized finance. And you're like, it's kind of a finance thing, but that's kind of cool, because I can get yields now. You know, I can get, instead of getting zero on my bank account for my hard savings, I can now get 6% a year. Wow, that's a difference. It's like going back 25 years in time. And then suddenly NFTs come and community tokens, and suddenly your mind is completely blown that this is not just money. It's the entire exchange, transfer, and storage of value for the internet. Whole business models are about to change massively because of what this technology unlocks. And then once you get your head around that, you're like, oh God, I can't even hold this in my mind any longer. It's so big. And that it's not just buy some Bitcoin, I'm going to make some money over time. You know, it's actually an entirely parallel financial system and business structure for the world. And it's being adopted faster than anything we can ever imagine.
So walk people through, what is it? And let's start with Bitcoin, because I want to take cares to differentiate between Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I guess full disclosure to anybody listening, I invest in essentially three things: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink. I'm a use case maximalist, I guess. And I understand those three. I'm not saying they're the only three. I'm saying they're the only three I understand well enough to invest in. What is it that makes Bitcoin interesting enough that so many smart people see this as ultrasound money? And what does ultrasound money mean?
The world has a history of money, whether it's backed by gold or not, where government gets themselves excessively into debt and they devalue the money. So the Romans used to clip the edge off the coins so there was less gold in each coin. And eventually people would lose faith in the coins because they would blend them with silver and then blend them with copper. And, you know, the coins were worthless because that was supposed to be worth the value of the denarii in Roman times. But governments can't help themselves. Humans, we're just humans, right? Humans are fundamentally flawed creatures, and we always will be. So then we have these gold standards. You know, the US and the UK were on gold standards. World War I, World War II, we all have to leave it because we've got too much in debt again. We've overly financialized yet again because humans love leverage above all things. It's kind of sex and leverage are the two things that drive humans for some reason. Then we adopt a new system, which has been around before, but it keeps getting abandoned, called fiat money. Fiat money is money not backed by anything. it's backed by the promise of the central bank paying it. So that's the dollar bill that we all are familiar with, and every country in the world now adopted fiat currency. But as with everything, if you're really thirsty and I gave you a bottle of water or sold it to you, you'd probably pay me 10 times too much for that bottle of water. If I give you 1 million bottles of water, they're worth precisely 0 to you. So scarcity has value. That's art, that's cars, that's almost anything. Humans value scarcity for whatever reason we do. And so if you're printing too much money, you're creating less scarcity. So yes, there's money everywhere, but the money has less value. So once you understand that, you say, well, what does it mean? The dollar hasn't collapsed. It's kind of where it was versus the euro in the last 5 years or whatever it is. And then you say, but my $50,000 salary now can buy me much less shares in Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft. In fact, units of the S&P 500, right? I suddenly can't buy as much. Since 2008, it's a fraction. I can buy like a third of what I could. Same with real estate. Same with gold. And then you're like, assets have suddenly got expensive. They haven't. The value of your savings has gone down, or your money. So you can't afford to buy assets. What is an asset? An asset is deferred consumption from the future. I buy a house, I sell it in the future, I get to retire. Whatever the things are, right? We don't buy the S&P because we want to hang it up in our wall. We buy it because we want to sell it at a future date to realize money. So that means our future selves are now poorer. That's essentially what this means. That's what currency debasement is. So Bitcoin comes along in 2008, in the middle of the crisis. It's kind of like it was perfectly prepared for this and said, Satoshi goes, hey, look at this. I can create an algorithm that only creates so much of this thing, the Bitcoin, and it can never vary, ever. So therefore, this is scarcity that humans can't fuck around with. Now, humans have this propensity to fuck around with scarcity because they're economically incentivized to do so. Here they can't. So then they become economically incentivized to own this asset because it's scarce and it cannot be changed because it has this consistent supply curve and a limited number. So Bitcoin becomes this great store of value. And it would look like gold because gold's a good store of value. It's worked for thousands of years. But Bitcoin has this other thing to it. It's a network, which gold isn't, and it's technology, which gold isn't. So we have use cases and the benefits of building a network. So suddenly it goes up exponentially in price. Roll on to 2015, and suddenly somebody's looking at the blockchain and they start saying, imagine if these bits on the blockchain, which is where you record the ownership of something, in Bitcoin, it's Bitcoin itself. What happens if we could put a contract in there? Because humans live off contracts. You know, everything is basically a contract in our legal terms. And that was the rise of Ethereum. It became a platform where you could programmably change the blockchain. Not the attributes of the blockchain. You couldn't remove anything off that ledger, but you could change the little holding buckets and say, well, it can look like this, it can look like that, it can adopt to this. And those things were verifiable as well, so they couldn't change. So this created Ethereum, which became the platform. So if you think of Bitcoin as the store of value, this very pristine, beautiful thing, then you think of Ethereum as also a very beautiful thing, but it's a much broader application because it's like programmable money.
Yeah, there's one concept that I want to nail down here, and if you think I'm crazy, let me know. But when I think about, so I've worked in the inner cities a lot, and you begin to realize, wait a second, the generational poverty is a mindset knowledge problem far more than it's a money problem, because they manage to pass on a likelihood of being poor. And so when you think about, okay, well, right now in the US for sure, and I would imagine most of the Western world, that your zip code is the #1 predictor of your future success, more than your IQ, which I'm just not willing to live in that world. But that's a really fascinating phenomenon. And when you begin to ask the question, how is that possible? So you have extraordinarily smart people that regardless of their IQ are going to be trapped in a poverty cycle. Why is that? And some of it has to do with what a guy named Geoffrey Canada discovered in terms of the language centers of your brain. And if you're not hearing enough words when you're an infant, just the language centers don't develop well, and you're going to have a hard time interviewing for jobs and climbing the sort of traditional corporate ladder in that way. And then they just also help you with communication. But the other part is what I call your frame of reference. What do you believe to be true about yourself and about the world? And one of the ideas that fails to get passed on in that poverty cycle is an idea of ownership. And once you understand ownership, now you get into that cycle that you're talking about where you can sell something in the future because you own it today, and you hopefully buy low and then sell high. And that really is like just the dead simple equation. And I just to plant a flag that we'll come back to, hold all these ideas in my head, you had mentioned earlier as like a throwaway that a lot of wealth was generated in the collapse and of the economy. And so I want people to understand that this is a game, and I don't mean that in any sort of derogatory way, but it has rules. And if you understand those rules, there's always an opportunity, especially in moments of disruption. And we're living through this incredible technological disruption right now. Okay, so back to this idea of ownership. So when I look at Bitcoin, what I see is something that I can own, right? There will only ever be 21 million of these. Now, like anything, as Yuval Noah Harari says, even money is just a story, right? It's a fiction that we all tell. And it only has value when we agree that it has value. So Bitcoin has that same sort of Achilles heel, that if tomorrow everybody stopped believing that owning that has any value, then it would have no value. But we have this ultra scarce thing that the last 10 years have proven people believe has value, and you can own a piece of that. And as we go, if it is true that more and more people will pour into this digitization of economic value, essentially, then those 21 million units are going to become hyper scarce and hyper valuable. Now, the great news is that you can fractionalize it, so you don't have to own one. You can own some tiny fraction of it. But now you have ownership. So you're able to buy something now that you can own as it appreciates in value, and then you can sell it later. And so it becomes just this buy and wait game that real estate